Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Dadman Walking 55 here on a wonderful Wednesday evening, and really excited about this episode tonight. Got the wonderful, great, and gorgeous, beautiful. I can't do anything without her. Mrs. Dadman Walking 55 here with me tonight. How are you, love?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing really, really good. I think tonight I've been looking forward to this one of the Civil War uh, streams, and just there's so much stuff that's going on right now. It's really going to be a multimedia presentation tonight, so I'm a little nervous with everything.
Well, you'll do good. You'll do
Yeah.
good. And then you know what? If not, just put a full screen up of us and figure it out.
Well,
I'll chatter away about something.
put a full screen up of you. They'd rather look at you than me, so you know how that goes. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. You know what's weird, and I noticed it before on another thing, is that viewer count on the it kind of goes weird on the StreamYards. StreamYards has been a little bit weird lately on some things,
Hmm.
so it's just kind of crazy. So, but yeah, how was your day today, by the way?
It was good. It was good. We might have just there was some good stuff that happened today.
I know, good and a little sad too, because I'm going to be sad.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but hey, we have the stream tonight to cheer us up, have some fun.
Well,
Uh,
I'm happy. I'm
oh
happy.
yeah,
You're the one that needs cheered up.
no, I know.
I'm going to tell him later what it is. I might tell
Okay.
him now.
Wait for more people to get in here then. Keep everybody, string them along, how that goes. So, hey, um, it was a lovely day today, though, with the weather outside. It was actually a nice, cool Florida day and breezy. It was actually kind of chilly a little bit. So, at least up here in Northeast Florida. So, uh, which we're going to talk a little bit about this whole trip. We love
Mhm.
this type of weather this time of year, anything time down in the South. Um, we don't always get it. Sometimes, the hot months of June through September are coming rapidly,
Yep.
and we enjoy when we can get it chill down. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
That is true.
absolutely. And folks, thank you for joining us tonight. Hope more come in and, share with your friends. It's something different that's not just Fortnite or football and sports. It's really a chance to broaden the horizon, do something different here to everybody to get, you know, I like history.
Dad, man, we have a question real quick.
Oh,
Bucky Eichhorn, I
uh-huh.
hope I said your name correctly,
Uh,
was visiting us at Twitch, and he asked that question right there. And do you
oh,
prefer, do you have a preference, or are you happy wherever they can watch us?
I'm really happy wherever you watch it. I like the Twitch side too. Sometimes not as many people watch over on that side. The one difficulty is you don't see the chat on the YouTube side. So it depends on how many. We had a stream the other night that had almost equal Twitch and YouTube. So uh, so that it's up to you, whichever way you want to, or you can pop between the two and stuff. I try to relay the messages between the two sides, and
A
we can
lot
just
of
call them
time,
Bucky.
okay, a lot of times when Dad Man's playing video games, he can only pick one or the other.
Right.
So, usually you do YouTube.
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
you do Twitch, but usually he does YouTube when he's doing video game streams. But for these, he can do both of them because
Mhm.
he's not monetized. So he just puts on both, and whichever one you prefer, um, you can use.
Absolutely. Well, let me say hello to people in the chat, and then we're going to preview all this stuff. Let me start backwards at the end. Hey, Maddie's daddy, Steve, welcome. Cutest baby on YouTube anywhere. How are you? Dropping like getting back to work. I understand. Thank you for dropping by here, Steve. It's always a pleasure to see you coming through. I love the support, and thank you all,
Mhm.
every one of y'all that are here with us, that have been friends of the channel, following us on Twitch. Which please, if you haven't yet, follow us on Twitch, on YouTube. Subscribe. We're at 187, trying to get to 200. Leave a like, smash that like button and stuff. So let's go through the chat and see who we've got here and come through. Alaska Jeff, hello, Alaska Jeff. Uh, First chat message. All right. That's the first time I think I had somebody claim a first chat, or the first that I remember. It's really awesome to see that happen. But hey, welcome. And I am scheduled to do something with Alaska Jeff coming up very soon. He's another streamer over, I think, on Twitch and YouTube. But there's something coming down the very shortly with Alaska Jeff. But welcome, welcome, my friend. Glad to have you. Of course, the missus is here as always. I gotta recognize you. And the great,
Okay.
the Snorter Poopas Keeper. Hello,
Yes.
humans and other critters. That's an honor to see that greeting in my chat. I will tell you, that is awesome to see. Hope you're doing well tonight, Snorter Poopas. Um,
Yes.
let's
Good to
see.
see.
Bucky, hey, woo, and definitely a welcome to you. So, and I think that's everybody we've got for now, and we hope more come through, and we'll see since we're just getting started. So, um, all right, Fort Pulaski. Oh gosh, too many forts we've been to, Missus. We've been to so many forts in battlefields in our marriage.
Yes. Yes.
Even when we did a special, uh, we've actually had three detour with the Dadmans. All, and you can go back and
Yes.
I encourage you to. The first one was the Sugarcane Festival in White Springs, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Second was the Civil War battle map, which
Yes.
we detailed everywhere we visited. But Mrs., we left off like at least 12 places.
Yes. We've been to
We,
a lot of places, and my memory's bad. So that man will probably even during this show go, "Oh yeah, do you remember?" And I'll go, sure." Which means I don't remember because I just have a very bad memory, and he for facts and things like his memory with things like this is amazing. But like you said, I could ask him to take out the garbage and he will forget. So,
yep, it,
um,
it happens.
but so just letting you know, if you ask me something and you hear this kind of stunned voice, it's me either trying to desperately remember or that I'm just faking it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
No,
hey,
I wouldn't fake it. If I don't know, I will definitely tell you.
absolutely. So that is awesome. But hey, it's great to have all y'all here. So I said that to drop this. Okay, Fort Fort Pickens. Oh gosh, uh, Fort Pickens is over in Pensacola. We'll show you the maps in a little bit, because we got a few maps and stuff like this. It's over near the Alabama Florida line, over on Santa Rosa Island, commanding Pensacola Bay. Um, well, last Labor Day weekend, we went to camping with the in-laws out there in that area, over in a state park, and leave it to Stunning and Brave Megatron to come in with an entry of all entries. Hello, my friend. Gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're too much. You're too much, Stunning. That's a
I
$50
plead
fine.
the fifth.
Oh
I
my.
plead the fifth.
No, you're supposed to say no, no. There's no way. I
Oh no,
deny that.
there's nothing. I never fake anything with that man. Ever, ever, ever.
Oh wow. Hey, let's see. Bucky's out there saying, "Hey, if you come out to Fort Custer up here in Michigan, let me know. I'm right around the corner. I'd love for y'all for dinner, and maybe me and Mrs. Dabman can do a little crafty collab."
Oh,
Oh, the
that would be
crafts.
so
Yes,
cool. Yes.
absolutely. Hey, oh gosh, there is a potential trip to Michigan next year, actually,
Oh, yes. Gonna
and
go
I.
during the Tulip Festival and
Oh,
go to is it I think Holland and oh gosh, what was the other place? Mackinac. Is Mackinac in Michigan? Am I
yeah, I
correct?
think Mackinac is in
I
Michigan.
think
Yeah.
those are the areas. I don't know anywhere where they're in relation to uh Fort Custer,
Uh,
but
yeah, we really don't. We really don't either. So, but yeah, hey, you never know. So, all right. Hey, you're getting laughs out there. Stunning. Jeez. Might have to do a show with you on it one time, Stunning, just for the fun of it. And hello to Theme Park Casual. Hello, my friend. Saying, hey,
hello.
kids. Absolutely. Great to have you in with us for a bit. And one of the hardest working theme park guys out there. Great guy. Loves a lot of food and shows a lot of food if you follow him on Twitter. I keep
Yeah.
getting Twitch and Twitter screwed up again. So, hey. All right. So this weekend this Labor Day weekend we had a camping trip with the family, and
Hmm.
it was nice. It was a good trip. It was one of the times that we have everybody together. I don't. I'm not sure if one of the family members made it or not, but it was a good family trip. Thank God though we had your sister with us to set up camp because
Yeah, we did
that
have everyone there.
oh my gosh, that was a hotter than hell.
Uh,
Why in September would we camp? Let me do a little quick thing here. So Bucky, you come in. That's further north in Holland. Yeah, Mackinac is Michigan, even further north. Fort Custer is Battle Creek. Okay, I'll have to check that on a map. Well, it
okay.
sounds like we'd have to pass it. So, and yeah, Megatron. Hey, maybe that could be a commission work there. That man blowing up a gas station. But
Oh, that would be hilarious.
but what was cool with it, well, not cool, was
Oh,
Florida summer camping is impossible. I was against it till I saw well, man, hello Atwood. Hey, I gotta say hi
hello,
to you guys.
hello.
Thanks for coming in, people. Absolutely. Hey, smash that like button and follow us on Twitch too. Um, but basically, it's like, what same people would go camping in Florida?
Well,
And okay,
can
go
I
ahead.
say something real quick?
Okay,
The gear that I got for us was supposed to make it easier to camp even in the hot weather, but we had some issues and that's where the problem was.
and again, thankfully your sister was with us to help us
Yes.
through all that stuff because I had to sit down a couple times and I'm not used to that. That heat
Ah,
was like it
it
just
was
you walked out, the
brutal.
humidity was so bad. And let me say hello to the great mod of mods out there. Eric K, welcome.
Hello,
Thank you.
hello.
Glad to have you with us tonight. So hey, welcome, welcome everybody. Yeah, and you know what's so funny with this trip? It was that way, but we fortunately got the camp up. Then we promptly went to to a restaurant.
Yes.
Yes, it was a dang good place, a Blue Angel Diner. It was
Yeah.
awesome, but our in-laws that were the other in-laws coming had to
Um,
work, had an emergency vet trip with a dog, and a few $1,000 later, and then it was crazy all the
then there
stuff
was
that
a
they had going.
tire that blew
Tire
on
black,
yeah.
yeah.
They had just a yes.
Bucky Corn. I've never been to Florida in summer, only the winter. Nice and warm, not as humid. I'd love to go down there again. Do not come in the summer though. You just step out and you're pouring. It's like
Yeah.
if you're not used to it.
They they
Hey,
truly say, it's not the heat, it's humidity, but that is true because we were over in Vegas one time and it was 100 degrees. Now, I'm not going to say that it was cool, but it was not uncomfortable. I mean, we
mhm,
were hot, but it wasn't the same as when it's 85 degrees here with the 100%, humidity. And you're like,
mhm,
well, that would be raining, but you know what I mean?
mhm.
70% humidity and you're dripping wet and you're miserable. So it truly, um, I do believe that it is not the heat, it's the humidity that is the horrible part.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
I
was
will
bad.
say though, sometimes in January, if you have a day where it's not very humid, but it's still hot temperature wise, our 85-degree in January could feel like 100 in the summer, comparable. That's how crazy it kind of is like that. In Alaska, Jeff, yeah, humidity is OP. It really is down here. Uh, and
Okay,
yeah, you
what
guys,
oh,
I'll tell you one trip we did. One time we went up into Kentucky, remember? And we were up there, and the National Weather Service had heat advisories and all. We got out of the van. We're like, what's going on? And we got out and we just started laughing. Like, this is hot. Yeah, but see, it didn't have the humidity, though.
yeah,
Temperature
what
wise, it was
one
hot.
person's heat is yeah.
Yeah. But this was horrible. This was like,
Oh,
I had to sit down and Mrs. I mean, we were hydrating. I normally can deal with heat. I don't know what happened this trip. I had to sit down a couple times.
yeah,
But
because it was hot
yeah,
and
well, I mean,
humid.
I know, but I normally don't do that. That's what was
Yeah.
crazy. But anyway, we got through, got the camp put up. But I will tell you what is so dang good. It was the first weekend of college football, and you know what? I got the best dang wife in the world.
Yes, you
Everybody
do.
gives some applause out for Miss Dadman walking because not only did we have a camp, we had college football available in the tent. I had a
Yep.
Roku, I had a TV, but even on top of that, folks, she brought an AC.
Yep.
I got to watch college football in a tent in Florida in the summer
with
uh,
air conditioning.
with air conditioning. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. It was way hey, and you're getting lots of applause from
Yep.
Bucky out there. So exactly, and yeah, the humidity gets you, and yeah, it's the feels like yep, exactly. It can get to you really quick.
Hmm.
Uh, Went to Alabama in the winter. My sister and I were wearing shorts. Our family down there were wearing heavy coats. Yes, that happens. Except I'm a Floridian that will short. I will wear shorts in 20-degree weather.
Yes, he will. He's an idiot.
It's cold if I put a jacket on.
You know it's
So
cold if he puts long pants on. He has like one
yeah,
pair of
that's true.
jeans. I mean,
Yeah,
not counting work clothes, but just casual clothes. He has one pair of jeans and I think one pair of sweatpants, but I think one of our children took them. But
yeah,
and that's it. And that's it with long pants. The rest are
yeah.
short pants.
I know. Well, hey, there you go. That's what's great about uh, being down here. So the background of the trip, all that was going on, all this stuff. So it was a chance for us to get over there and to visit Fort Pickens.
And we
As
were
we
doing the puzzle. This was the camp
yes,
out we were doing the puzzle.
yes, and with that transition, we've greeted everybody in here. Things, uh, and yeah, Atwood, you're right. If it's 19 degrees but feels like -30, it's -30.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So,
Exactly.
and this is the puzzle that the missus is talking about right here. Oh,
Mhm.
hey, there we
What?
go. I put us. Ooh, it's
Ooh.
me.
Oh,
Hey, there you go.
make it full screen.
Uh, uh, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You're
have to be
welcome.
in and back. But
There we
yeah,
go.
this is the puzzle that the missus was talking about.
Yes.
Absolutely, and this is a focus of one of our earlier detours with the Dadman. So if you get a chance to go back and watch it, please do. It's really was a great look where we took a look at many of the places we have visited over the years. And like I said earlier, we missed a number of places on
And
this trip.
we got that puzzle done
Mm-hmm.
the weekend. And
Yep.
all that is little itty bitty writing. And we didn't have the best um lighting.
No, you didn't
It
have
was
the AC either.
and we didn't have the AC either. But we had little flat flashlights and I think we had one magnifying glass and we were looking at the pieces. Oh my gosh. It was horrific. But
Yeah.
it was fun, but it was oh, yeah.
Oh, that was really really fun to
Mhm.
watch that. But yeah, that's what started it all.
Mhm.
That really is what it started really the whole thing that we did with this trip. Um, yeah. So let's go to uh, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little
Hey,
bit
that was
about.
not that oh,
What?
Bucky
Go ahead.
said that it was his with one of your extreme puzzles. That one is an extreme. I've got another one that looks simple, that is hellacious.
The smiley face one.
The smiley faces. It's
Uh,
got all just circle smiley faces with, all in over it, a montage, and then one with in yellow. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
well, hello. What's more
Hello.
appropriate than having the Queen of Florida drop by on a stream about something in Florida? Hello, Lorena. Glad to have you drop by.
Yes,
Always a
thank you.
pleasure. Thank you. Yes, exactly. And then stunning is like, yeah, find the side pieces, connect them together, and then build inside. I think that's what
Oh,
y'all did, didn't you?
yep, we did. And pretty much all we got done is the side pieces and the yellow face.
Ah,
It's a
yeah,
horrific
that was
puzzle.
crazy. Well, a little bit before we talk about the history of Fort Pickens, let's. I'm going to bring up kind of the park map here. Let's
Hmm.
just see what the area looks like here. This is the park area itself. You can see to the north of it, there's Pensacola Bay. It sits out on the Gulf of Mexico. It's part of the national seashores. The national seashore sits out there that stretches between Alabama and Florida. As you can see, from the right, you drive in on the roads and you pass some of the different batteries and campgrounds and different things. In the middle, there's a campground store. this area will be pivotal in one of the actions that occurred in the Civil War uh, that we'll talk about briefly a little bit later. And as you move to the west, to the northwest, towards Fort Pickens up in the top left, you'll see different batteries. We're going to talk about those because you may think Fort Pickens is just the fort itself, but really there's a lot to the area, and we'll see what happened over time with that. Um, and it just, like I said, Battery Pensacola was a more modern fort. You see Battery 234, Battery Cooper. We're going to talk about those briefly a little bit, but they're all considered part of the Fort Pickens area.
Hmm.
But the fort proper will be the masonry fort that we've seen, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes.
Um, this is really the part map, kind of showing you a little bit of the things of all of the area, the island. You can see to the left, you can see the outer walls of the fort. You see some of the exterior defense walls too um, around it. The road is right there between two walls there. That's where you drive up and drive through on the approach to the parking area. Oh, hey, no, no gas stations, Mark. No gas stations. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, I didn't even see that one come in, but thank you, Mrs., for picking that one up. So, in the map, we'll tell you about different things about the Fort Brancas, which is across Pensacola. We'll look at that. Some of the areas are on base across, like Fort Brancas is over on the military base, so you've got to have clearances to get in there, except for one day a week. Well, no, I think on Sunday you can, but you got to have somebody with a military ID. We could have with one of your family members, but
Hmm.
we didn't have time. But then it talks about the island, the nature, and that types of stuff here. So it's more than just a Civil War fort. And a lot of places it's just a Civil War fort or a battlefield, but there's a lot more to this area that's
Yeah.
there. Like Fort Donelson, one of my favorite forts of all time, up on the Cumberland River. It's all you got in the middle of Tennessee, right there. But this is a lot of other things going on, and we'll talk a little bit about coastal defenses had a lot more usage over time, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And if you're a student of history, you'll understand why that is at this point. Then we go, all right, and here's a little
Oh,
video. We're gonna have some videos tonight. There's not any sound with it really, but you know, this is the approach up to the gates, the entrance, the walls I showed you off the map too.
and that was my first attempt to try to use a gimbal, and it didn't work. And I think I figured it out, or it might just be a cheap one, and it didn't. And I need to get a
Yes.
better one.
Now I will say this fort was a little different to me, and let me see if it comes. I'll see if I can stop it in just a second. Okay. Let me see. Stop. There you go. See, let me go up a little bit further. Maybe you can get a better angle. Okay. To your right over here is the exterior walls of the fort itself, but to the left are other walls. And it's, a lot of times there are different levels to different forts. Interior have different walls of defense. Even some have exterior, but this is the first time I've seen like brick walls exterior to the fort. And so this was really different to me driving in. Fort Pulaski up in Savannah is a masonry fort. Fort um, Clinch here in Nassau County is a masonry fort. Fort the Castillo de San Marcos in St. Augustine is a fort that you can drive up there. Yes, yes, and gimbals are frustrating.
Yes,
Yes, sorry, poop is somewhere in deepest, darkest Floribamistan.
Floribamistan.
Yeah, and wow, they have a road through the fort. I've not seen that before. Yes, it's actually around the. It's actually not through the fort proper itself, but there's like different parts of the fort. This was a unique fort to me that I've not seen
Hmm.
one with built up brick walls exterior to it like this. That I've seen earthenworks as defense line where a body and other defenses were placed to for protection, but this was a little bit different, and really it was neat driving up here like this because it was.
Hmm.
Like I said, see, you see the deeper moat around, not really a moat in terms of water, but see, you see the build up wall outside of the fort. itself, and then here's the high exterior walls here because you can see the portholes with
Oh,
the
wait, are we gonna
cannons.
see you? Oh, no,
No,
we don't see you.
no, I checked it, but anyway, and if we
They get
did,
to
oh well,
see your glorious face. It'd be okay.
absolutely, yes. So actually, in one of the previous videos, you saw my glorious backside, but hey, I won't brag about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and see now we come around the fort walls. We see it from the Gulf side, looking back towards Pensacola itself. You can see more modern buildings that were built up World War One, World War Two, when it was still used as an installation, an active installation. So, and let me take this down because I think that's all we have in this part of the video.
Mm.
So, but that's what we have with that one.
And
Any
what was
thoughts, Mrs.?
um sorry, I just got distracted.
Oh,
My,
it's okay. Oh my.
um
Oh,
Um, one thing that was interesting about this is that it not only was the fort, but it had a like a educational center and a visitor center that it focused also on the ecological stuff, more nature stuff. So
mm-hmm.
where a lot of the visitor centers just focus on the fort, the war, the war, and stuff like that. This one actually had more to it. I think that's kind of why the act was more of an access, because they had where you could go walk on the beaches if you wanted to. Um, and all that. So it was a very unique um, uh, park, I think, um,
I, yeah, go
in
ahead.
what it um, offered.
I will say it was unique uh, as a fort goes for me. I I've I've seen brick masonry forts like these, Pulaski, Clinch. This one was unique, especially with exterior defenses. The Fort Sumter is the middle of Charleston Harbor. That was way out in the middle of nowhere, but it had parts that were on the coast. I've seen the earthen forts. Heck, one of the earthen forts that I want to talk about down the road is Fort McAllister that looks like the Shire with the mountains and
Oh
stuff. But
yes.
this one, it's like it's kind of cool to see all these things because you think they're all the same that they're not. And really construction and engineering comes into play because it has to be built on the right terrain or right
Hmm.
circumstances, and we're going to see that in a little bit coming up. So but
Right.
and Snorta Poopa said we had a nice fort across the Potomac River where I grew up, Fort Washington. Yeah, I think I saw Fort Washington once before. Oh man, Mrs., if you can pull that down, you may have to
Uh,
do
uh,
that later.
I will look for it. Did you see we
Ah,
had someone new?
and Liam Graywolf.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Great to see you, man. Great. Yeah, tell AFK hello too. Always great to hear from AFK too. So, but basically, that's really what these forts all seem to have different things to them, different elements. There's,
Yeah. Well, like you said, depending on where they're at,
yeah,
they're the way they're fortified, the way they're equipped with their armory, um, just the way they're built. Like you say, the
mm-hmm,
ones that were like the shires, and then they had tunnels, like
mm-hmm.
little trenches that they could go everywhere. I think that was the same place. I might be mistaken.
96.
That was 90.
That was an American Revolution fort in nowhere,
But
South Carolina. Yes.
but they have all these neat little just different things that it was makes each one unique. And you think how can you go to so many forts? You just see a bunch of rocks and stuff, but you don't. You learn see and I'm kind of he remembers the history more than I
Mhm.
do, and I at the moment I so enjoy it. I'd probably be better doing a live stream of these because I don't remember everything. Um, but yeah, they're just it's fascinating when all the different aspects of them.
Mm-hmm. And you definitely appreciate the engineers like Mark out there,
Mhm.
because I mean Robert E. Lee was Confederate general, was initially in the engineers and designs like a fort that's no local to here, um, you know that's been taken over by the river. Dredging, stuff like that affects
Mhm.
these things over time. We went to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the Mississippi River's changed so much over the years. So it's really, there's just so much to see all these, and I'm getting too. Yeah, yeah. You're just going to have to go again.
I don't
Absolutely,
mind. I really don't. I think they're very
absolutely.
interesting. As long as it's
Well,
not too hot.
well, like we talked about, terrain, all that engineering is
Mhm.
important because remember, and Mark, yes, forts are very cool. Like we talked about on my, I will go back to Fort Donaldson again on another stream. Uh, no, Snortopoopas. He used to build some pretty good pillow forts. None were ever captured. I guess that gives a new term to Fort Pillow. Anyway, that's, if you know the Civil War, you know what that is. So, but but it just, engineering is so key to these things. Like my favorite Donaldson, Fort Henry is the one we joked about in that stream, or it was by me, I think, on that one. The one that's under the water because the Mississippi reclaimed it.
Mhm.
What we're going to see here is a little bit, and I'm going to bring it up to the next part, the fort system here.
Mhm.
The system of the fortifications, I'm going to make this a little bit larger so y'all can see this a little bit. Stunning. Yes,
Pillow.
exactly. Gideon Pillow. Yes. Fort Donaldson. Hey, I don't want to surrender. You guys surrender. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Derp is putting it nicely, Snortopoopas. So, um, which, if you didn't know, he was a politician, got commissioned, and then he promptly turned over and fled while the other left the professional soldiers to surrender. So, anyway, back to the fortifications and things like this. Each, especially the coastal harbors, had a different set of systems with them, um, and over a time of the history. And here's where I'm going to get dangerous. I am actually about to uh, hit other buttons and pick something else. Fort Pickens was actually part of what's known as the third system of fortifications. Uh, what they were enhancements of the old earthworks and obsolete designs of the first and second system. The first and second systems were the original, uh, like the original, going back to the Revolution. Those type of forts that were built then. So actually, I'm multitasking, and that's not working right now. But you had the first, which was the Revolution. The second was after the period of the Revolution. The third system was approaching, leading up to the American Civil War, where there's more technology. And like I said, was meant to enhance the earthworks and stuff. Fort Pickens, we'll see in a moment. It was a Pentagon design. They had broad.
Point where Fort Pickens is
Fort
on the
Pickens is
map.
here
Okay.
on the You Are Here. That is where Fort Pickens is. Okay.
Okay.
What's a system of batteries is you have, in a similar, we see at Charleston Harbor with Fort Sumter, their other land. As you can see, Pensacola Bay's here. The main way through for shipping is through this passage here. And they also had Fort McCree, which was built over on Perdido Key, and Fort Brancas, which is up on the mainland and up in Pensacola itself, with
Okay.
a small, what they called Spanish water battery up there. The fort had a counterscarp to the east of it to create a defensive moat. Those moats that we saw earlier, that was to help prevent a land invasion that came in. And the westernmost bastions were equipped with mine chambers that were to be detonated in last efforts to save the fort from invaders. But as you can see, when you have three forts in three different positions, you can counter fire everywhere. Remember,
Mhm.
these cannon only had limited range, depending on the technology at the time, whether you had smooth bore uh, rifle artillery was being developed at the time. You had seacoast guns, so there's a lot of different things. So
Mhm.
they didn't have the ability to shoot uh, for many miles like modern technology allows us. So, but that was the point: is you got multiple batteries and you all have fields of fire and you cover it, that will protect the harbor from invasion from
Mhm.
an outside, from an enemy. So um, let's see. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Like I said, it's good to see a map for the fort. It helps to understand its positional importance. Absolutely. Terrain means everything. Position means everything. Hey,
Mhm.
angry Canadian, welcome. Glad to see you.
Hello.
Glad to see
Hello.
you. So we got 10 people with us. Make sure you follow on Twitter and Twitch, and hit that like button on the YouTube side and subscribe if you haven't. So this is basically how the system of fort works. Here's how it was designed for Pensacola Bay itself, because you also had west of here Mobile Bay, and we will see, later as the time progressed, strategic importance of things. Uh, so we got Fort Pickens here, and like I said, it's on the western end of Santa Rosa Island. Fort McCree's on Perdido Key, and Fort Brancas has a water battery also facing the bay entrance. So this allows for the crossfire, and the rings specifically illustrate the firing range in 1840. So
Mm.
remember also your dredging and depth, depending on where the ships could go. You can't go too far one way, too far the other way, because you might run aground. But, you know, especially in this middle, you could take fire from,
All
all
three
three
of them.
forts in that one spot
Wow.
right there. So exactly. So that's why it was important. We see here a little more modern look with Fort Pickens, in that this also includes the more modern designs. Like we talked about earlier, some of the other batteries, battery 234. Uh, and you'll see there'll be like blackish looking buildings. Well, we'll try to explain that a little bit that later. This this was the escarpment here that was mentioned, with the little the
Is
downgrade
that the
there.
trenches? Is that
That's
where the
yes, that's
trenches?
what that was talking about.
Okay.
And then the fort itself here. Notice though, the fort has this big hole right there where a bastion should be.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Well, we'll talk
Mhm.
about that in a little bit. So,
Yes. That was
so
that was not, designed that way. We'll just leave it
nope,
at that.
nope, yep. So
Can
like
we say oopsie?
oopsie. Well, it's a big oopsie on
It's
this
a
one.
big oopsie.
And as the sign said, the historic structures on the island illustrate the evolution of coastal defense. From 1834 to World War II, the military built new fortifications and mounted guns that were more powerful. Fort Pickens, the batteries and wooden structures were built at different times. And this map shows you the location of the coastal defense sites, which we will
Well
take a look
well,
at.
this fort was active until not what was it, 1947? Was that what we
1947, yes.
so yeah, it was still in use up to 1947.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
a lot of modernization, I guess, from the original. Um,
Well, I want to talk about that. I don't want to spoil that right now, but when we get
I
to
know.
there's a reason why it stayed even active that long.
Mm,
Especially you folks that know a bit about World War II will understand this very easily. So, um, as we see here, here's another one. Just a sign here talking about, you see the batteries 234, the Tower Bastion, Fort Pickens here. There's some batteries of Sevier, Swearingen, all in Santa Rosa Island, facing the Gulf. Perdita Key. You can see site of Fort McCree looks like it's partially underwater, partially. There's some doubt about exactly where it is, what remains of it. You cannot access it by foot. You have to take a boat out, from what I understand,
mhm.
and you have to get permission. So, uh, and this sign also describes the different types of things that are here. Um, so like it says about Fort Pickens was a 1860s. The fort stood at the channel's edge, so enemies would be hesitant to come in within the range of the guns. Uh, and it talks about the currents have changed over the years. Battery 234 and Spotting Tower were Army built forts. Last battery for directing the battery's guns, and the different batteries that they had, that they built in relation, because of World War II, or World War One, starting World War One, and some additional in World War II. And Star Poopa said, "Everyone said I was daft to build a castle in a swamp, but I built it all the same just to show them it sank into the swamp." There you go. Do it anyway. Even if they say you can't do it, do it again. And here's an old sketch of the original layout of Fort Pickens,
Mhm.
Lieutenant Langdon. So this was the design for it. Uh, probably somebody that knows a little bit about more these type of drawings and all will know more and understand what it is here. But I see pretty picture. But you see the encampment there, escarpment here, and the different bastions that they had, with the fort.
Were some of
Uh,
those things you think maybe sight lines or something? I mean, those outside like triangle things they had to have meant.
yeah,
I
could
have
I
no
don't
idea.
I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
I'm not sure,
Interesting.
but they're nice pictures though
Interesting.
for sure. So
Purdy.
absolutely. So here we go, and here's Fort Pickens as it, just a map of it, fully complete. You entered in here from the north or the northeast. You had your five bastions um, here. Uh, Pentagon Fort. More guns could go out to the west side. That faced the Gulf, that had more exposure to the Gulf, where your
Mm.
where your where your enemy would be coming from. So, like I said, if you build in a swamp, you need to build like Peter the Great did. It's possible, but it takes a lot of money and work. Yes, you could do it, but would you really want to? Is it worth the money and the work?
Mm.
Ah, man. But here's another shot of the Pensacola harbor defenses as they stood in 1861 at the time of the start of the United States Civil War. Again, you see Fort McCree, Fort Pickens, and one of the comments, see it's really close to the coast there. Fort Brancas is up on the
Mhm.
up near the Pensacola Navy Yard, which made Pensacola strategic importance all through the Civil War. Was a fact it had the Navy Yard, and still is
Right.
a big harbor for a big thing deal with the Navy there to this day.
Mhm.
Bases, and actually had the Pensacola Air Museum there too. Really, really good place also to visit if you can. But this again is another picture to show you the strategic importance of Fort Pickens. Now these two forts, Brancas and McCree, are not going to be nearly what Fort Pickens is. That was just they will not be. And if you look where they're built, there's no way that they could have been built to that extent. But Fort Pickens was the main battery out of the three.
Mm.
Part of defending Pensacola Bay, they had, and really the U.S. strategic uh, strategy, I like using that word, revolved around a lot of the harbor defense systems. I mean, we look at, especially in the U.S. Civil War, how important harbors were, like
Mhm.
especially to the south. Part of the Union's strategy was the Anaconda Plan, which was to stop shipping, cut them off, and slowly strangle them like an anaconda would, and that would be involved capturing or blockading southern
Mhm.
ports. And but even before that, we had piracy. You had different things that going. So really, to the security of the U.S., it was to defend those harbors. So what at the time was to build brick and stone forts along the coast. Um, so in this case, in the Pensacola Harbor, there were four forts, two on low-lying islands to guard the entrance. Because of Santa Rosa Island's key position, if you actually visit, you could see where it is. It was the first and the largest of the four forts built in the area to
Mhm.
protect the Navy Yard.
Mhm.
Do you have anything?
No, that's just cool. I'm just looking at the
Okay,
pretty
cool.
pictures.
That's awesome. But hey, pretty pictures. What about sand?
Oh, it was pretty.
Yes. So what they said, a little different thing here. The white sands were once granite in the Appalachian Mountains, basically because of rocks, erosions, and the movement of rivers and stuff. Basically, it moved down to the Gulf, to the seashore of what we see.
That's
So
really interesting.
so it says the beaches at the Gulf Islands National Seashore are composed of over 90% quartz crystals, which gives
Wow.
them appearance of granulated sugar. So
Ah.
that's that's what we do. And see if, yeah, gosh, I don't think I did that. If you look down at the bottom, I didn't do a good job with this picture. That's why the missus. This is on the day I went by myself, because the missus went kayaking with her family, and I got to be yay all day by myself. Well, I had phone calls and stuff with some people I was doing. It was kind of fun with football on the way, but Saturdays Yeah, footballs and forts. That's my kind of fun. Footballs, forts, and fun. How about that?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can see that how it marks about the move down from the Appalachian Mountains and like North Georgia, just coming down into the Gulf. I unfortunately cut that
Oh,
off, but hey,
interesting.
yes. And here, for you beach people, this is how close the road was to the Gulf at the time, and pretty beach,
Yeah. Yep.
very pretty
Pretty,
beach.
pretty. Purdy,
Absolutely,
purdy.
absolutely. So that takes us through this part of the thing, which I'll get ready for the next thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's interesting.
what's that?
The one, the bottom
Okay,
one.
let me go here.
I can't
Yeah,
can't find my cursor. There we
in
go.
the days of wooden sailing ships, forts could fire hot shot by heating the cannonballs in ovens and shoot them at the ships, which often caught fire. Yes, get it. You start the wooden ships. You get it in the mast. You get in the rigging. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Snortopupus.
Hmm.
And you know, a lot of these forts still had those to the in the Civil War because there were still wooden sailing ships still to that point. You know, we got the advent of the ironclad because of the American Civil War.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and more metal based gunboats and stuff like that. But still, there were plenty of wooden ships at the time that you could do that, and even before that, like Snorri Poopa's pointing out here, that was a good way to set something on fire.
I always wonder though,
Hmm.
how did somebody just go, oh, let's heat this up in the oven and shoot it in a boat and see what happens? I mean, you know what I mean? It, it, it just boggles my mind, you know. So some
No,
of
I
them,
got you. I got you. Yeah,
I'm
that
sure there
definitely.
was something that happened that, you know, they were ironing something with a flat iron and they set it down while it was still hot and it caught on fire or something and they went,
Hmm.
oh wait, eureka. But still, I
Eureka.
just always, wonder how it translated, how it actually, how did someone actually think of that?
Wow. I love Florida weather, but last time I was there, I saw a shark jump out of the water and people came running back to the beach in a
Are you
panic.
sure it was a shark? Could have
They
been a
can jump. They can jump. I've seen
yeah,
some
but
sharks jumping,
but
but
were you close enough to really tell?
yeah.
I,
Wow.
I wouldn't have been.
Well, when I see people running and panicking, I'll take their word for it. I'm not going to stay around
Yeah.
long
Well,
enough to
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Oh, that is
yeah.
awesome. But
But
yeah,
I do, yes. I'm not a beach person. I'm a Florida native and I despise the beach. So I
yeah.
I wouldn't even be there.
Yes, it was very clear, very clearly a
Oh,
shark. Yes. All right.
oh,
Jeff is close enough then.
yes. Like I say, I wouldn't
Absolutely.
have even been at the beach. So,
All right. Well, I need you to keep your eye on StreamYard because I'm about to do something
oh
dangerous.
no. Oh
Yeah.
no.
So,
Cross your
so,
fingers, everybody.
oh shoot. Well,
Yes,
gotta
I
keep.
agree with you, Snortopoopus. Sharks are really not that smart. They're blind as a bat.
Hmm.
The only reason they eat like fish and things is because of the reflection. That's why I've heard that you shouldn't like have wear like shiny stuff in your
Hmm.
water because the sharks see the glitter and they think it's the belly of a fish. But sharks are blind as a bat, and
Hmm.
they're not you know uh you know they don't purposely go and attack people like Jaws. They're
Mm.
thinking they're getting dinner is what they're thinking they're getting.
Oh my. Yeah, I've heard stuff like
But
that.
do I still want to be around a shark? No,
No.
no.
Or crocodiles either, Liam. We don't like crocodiles either. So, but hey, okay, all right. Let me see. I've got to
Just don't be around a crocodile during mating
exactly.
season. That's
All
all.
right, all
That's
right.
when they're the worst.
I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to use the force. Okay, so you bear
Okay.
with me. Okay, all right. We go there.
Okay.
All righty. I know it's not maxed yet. I'm just trying to make sure I got
That's okay.
this thing here. All right. So can everybody? Can you still see and hear?
Yes.
All right. All right. The the history of the fort. primary action was 1861 to 1864, which was the American Civil War. The forts were built around Pensacola to provide the unified defense of the city and the port. Um, basically, at one point, uh, Fort Pickens was pitted against Fort Brancas and Fort McCree. Basically, what had happened is when you had this outset of the war, Confederates demanded surrender. The Union pulled back onto the main fort for better defensive purposes, surrendering the other areas around the Navy Yard and the Pensacola and Fort McCree. So when they pulled back in there, you got kind of the stalemate at the time.
Mm.
There were two different actions that really came to light that occurred down here on the island itself, where Fort Pickens is. Well, one on the island, one was a battle, but which was interesting. We'll see what happened between the forts. The first was the Battle of Santa Rosa Island, October 9th, 1861. It was a surprise attack. Basically, the Confederates, Snortopupus is going to love this guy, who were commanded by the great General Braxton Bragg. Yay. If you know Southern Civil War, you know about Bragg's eyebrows and his lack of success. So anyway, at times, but hey, they were commanded by Braxton Bragg. He sent a unit, about 1,000 soldiers over under Richard Anderson, who you'd hear about later in the war up north in the Army of Northern Virginia. So on October 9th, they took some boats over across to the island and, moved up on the fort. So let's see. And then also the sign, if you read for further, talked about a retaliation on November 22nd, 23rd, which we'll talk about in a second. But going back to this map right here, Fort Pickens is here. Right in this, let's see, this area here with a group camp area, I believe, is where the New Yorkers were stationed. That's where the camp was. And we're going to see in a second that what had happened. Oops, I went too far with that one. So what I'm going to tell you is let me get the right map over here. There we go. We got this map. All right. As you can see here, the New Yorkers were pushed back by the Confederate advance at first, but then reinforcements came from Fort Pickens, which pushed the Confederates back from that area, and basically became a stalemate at that point. The Confederates were trying to make a move from the east onto the fort, didn't even get close because of the reserves, and it had not even gotten into cannon range for the fort really. But if you visit that terrain, it's really bad terrain. It would be hard to traverse, much less get when you did get closer to the fort. But with the even though the Confederates outnumbered the Union 2-1, still it was a very it stalled very quickly after some initial success, and then parts of the different U.S. Artillery and U.S. infantry, commanded by Harvey Brown, steadied the lines, and basically at that point, when the Confederate advance bogged down, there was nothing else to do, and then the Confederates got back on and took their boats back over to Pensacola. So that is basically really what happened on the Battle of Santa Rosa Island. You don't hear much about it because there's really not much to say about it. It's interesting to see the landmarks, and if you visit there, the sites. It's not dedicated though, because if you noticed, and let me do something real quick. I'm dangerous right now. Let me do this real quick. Make sure I got to the right thing. Yeah, that's why I'm glad I brought it down. Yeah, so exactly. Let's see.
Well, while
This
you're
one
doing
here.
that,
Yes, I'm right here.
while
Yeah,
we're
go
going to
ahead.
do that, I'm going to put some things up.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about bears and sharks, but Angry Canadian said I think I would be more scared of dolphins. And then I had to and then Atwood is nom nom nom, animality, and
Animality.
animality, and then I went to Angry Canadian. I said, yes, dolphins can love you to death. Everybody can use their own imagination with that. Um, and Snorter Poop has said, good old Braxton Bragg. He'd argue with anyone about anything. He'd even argue with himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bucky said that she had to go, that motherhood called. And then we have a new guest that came in,
Hey,
Brian. That I think I missed one where uh, um, Mark said he was afraid of sharks or something, and so Brian commented that he thought that Mark D with the C would have a shark repellent bat spray on his utility belt, and Mark replied that it
mm-hmm.
all expired in 1966.
Oh my God, that's
so
wonderful. I love that.
so we have caught up with the chat now,
Yes. All
and
right.
it's been great. So I will now
Absolutely.
let you continue with your battle.
And see, back to the islands. See, it stopped right about in here, like with the group camp area, Battery Langdon, in that area. Let's see. They passed it. No, it's up at Battery Worth. I believe it's up here near Battery Worth, where there's a parking area, a picnic. It stopped, and then obviously, at that point, a lot of times, if your offensive started stalling, and you couldn't get the uh, action going again, you kind of just stopped and quit and went home. So, and that's kind of what happened here under Bragg, and Snorter Poopas. Yeah, Braxton Bragg. It was it was you know he once got threatened by somebody for because of incompetence. Like, if I ever get assigned to you, I'm going to kill you. And he actually approved the discharge. Um, so uh, let me see. Oh, God, I should know this name and I don't remember it. That's what's uh, God, how that's bothering me. And I'm like, ah, I got to get it now. Snort Poopers would know that. Everybody know the name. And I just that's embarrassing. I can't recall the name, but it's like let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. It was a let's see. I'm just trying to do something real quick. Let's see. But man, it's yeah. But hey, I'll think of the. God, what's so bad is I know what I do. I know the term now to look. So, but bear with me. It's what's so bad is that yeah. Let's see. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Yes, that's why I'm like Nathan Bedford Forrest threatened him to if I ever had to work with you again, if you don't approve the transfer, and obviously his transfer was immediately approved. Snort Poopas, my God, Mr. Bragg, you have a quarrel with every officer in the Army, and now you're quarreling with yourself. Yep, and his famous eyebrows. If you look up eyebrows, that's him. So, bye, Angry Canadian. Hey, thanks for swinging by. Appreciate it. Glad to have y'all here. Glad everybody's been coming through. We've had people in and out, and thank you. And if you don't finish it, I'll try to watch it on replay later another time. And thank you for stopping by, hit the like button and stuff. The other engagement, as you saw a reference to, was November 22nd to 23rd, 1861, which was really more of a cannonade. So it was more of a cannonade between the three forts. Remember, what he said is that the Union had pulled off of Pensacola in front proper and had solidified their forces in Fort Pickens over on Santa Rosa Island. Well, the Confederates moved into Pensacola, the Fort Barrancas, Fort McCree that's here, and it's kind of a stalemate. Then you had the battle at Santa Rosa Island. That didn't work. So then the Union on November 2nd opened fire, not just from Fort Pickens with all the cannon that they had. They also brought up two naval vessels in close support to bombard Fort McCree specifically. Um, yeah, the Niagara and the Richmond had drawn up close, and the two, let's see, one had an 80-pounder Dahlgren smoothbore, 29-inch Dahlgren smoothbore guns, and one 30-pound Parrott rifle on the Richmond. The Niagara had
Okay, I pulled a
12
dad
11-inch
man.
Dahlgren. Huh?
I just pulled a dad man.
Yeah, sorry.
I just was
But,
talking away and my mic was muted.
oh, okay, sorry. But
So
hey,
they were just shooting cannons at each other, cannonballs at each other.
yeah, but more than that, though, what
Oh,
happened
okay.
with the naval support coming in? You see where Fort McCree is? Fort McCree was essentially destroyed by the bombardment between the fort and the two
Oh,
Union
okay.
ships. That's why, even though what's interesting with Fort McCree is there's nothing left of it. You have to go
Right.
to it by boat with special permission if you can get there. Um, this book that I have, Fort McCree, A Castle Built on Sand by James Coleman. It basically says to locate it based on a map and some things, and it mentions that the location of Fort McCree is inland in the dunes a few hundred feet. A large number of bricks, glass fragments, and other artifacts can be found on the spot. No other
Mm.
artifacts in the immediate vicinity. Unless they have
Oh,
been
well.
destroyed by one or more of the wave action shoreline encroachments, the foundation, footings, and perhaps some fragment of McCree's walls lie beneath the dunes at this place. So
Oh.
you will not really see much of anything, and we'll see some pictures from Fort Pickens in a little bit. So those are the two actions that really happened there. And
Uh-huh.
after that, shortly thereafter, the Confederates abandoned. And another view, this is from the top over towards Pensacola itself from the wall, and another action back to Fort Pickens also from the fort itself. But basically, soon after, within a year, the Confederates actually abandoned Pensacola to defend Mobile, and also with Bragg and the Army of Tennessee pulled out troops to reinforce the Army of Tennessee up north. So
Mm.
anyway, all that. And hello. Oh, wow. Hey, I'm back. Hey, Squeaka. Good to see you. Yeah. I'm on. There's a lot of mouthfuls around here tonight. Good to have you with us. Uh, yep. Yay. And all the hellos. Hello, everybody. So, hey.
Hey, wait, this one
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Parrot rifle. And hey, stay with me, folks. I want to tell you why the rifle, because that means something. But yes, I agree. 30-pound parrot. Could you imagine the poor shoulder of the parrot, whoever he was standing on? That would be tilted to one side. So, Mrs., what do you think? What do you think about that? I know sometimes your eyes start glazing over when I get all into the battle stuff, but
Well, I just think it showed the importance of how location is. And when they didn't need it anymore, they said goodbye. I did not know McCree was completely decimated, though.
there are
I think you
yeah,
said that, but I did not realize that. But you said McCree and what was the other one? Not Pickett,
a Brackus.
Brackus. Um,
Yeah.
that they were like they weren't the they were like I hate to use the word minor forts, but in a sense, like secondary. And so they weren't as were they built as sturdy as as fortified? I hate using fortified. I mean, or were they just kind of here's a wall and put your stuff
Well,
up and
sometimes
shoot?
remember forts could be built of sand, wood, and
Yeah.
other things, and this did not have. And if you look where it's built, they could not put a lot of masonry and brick and stuff to
Okay.
give it the
The
sturdiness
sturdiness.
of like Fort
Okay.
Pickens. That's why Fort Pickens was the largest of them, and was
Okay.
viewed as the main battery.
Okay.
So, and also remember the 30-pound Parrots, and also those naval gunboats coming in. They can decimate, because you remember we'd seen
Yeah.
Fort Sumter up in Charleston Harbor, and those walls are nowhere near what they were.
Right. Well, when they showed some of them that you could see where the cannonballs were into the.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
Fort Pulaski. Wait till we do that. They had Parrot rifles on the smaller ones, Lord business.
oh
Oh
yeah.
gosh, I love this. I love you guys in the chat. You're awesome. My pillow forts are more powerful than a locomotive. Oh my gosh! Wow. Hey, you guys are great. So, all right, but that's the action that's happened on these at Fort Pickens. Like I said, it didn't really have a lot of action. Theirs happened in the first year of the war. Pretty much, Pensacola was abandoned, left to the Union. The Union's Confederates went west to Mobile and up north to the Army of Tennessee for reinforcements. And if you know a lot about Civil War, you know how the Western Theater was going. Uh, not very good from the very start for the Confederacy. Oh my God, I'm not going on that tirade. Listen, folks, I hope to do more history down the way. If you've never been to the Western Theater, I want to bring you more shows on the Western Theater. Beautiful pictures, incredible battles that people don't get to go to. My kids actually got to see the Western, but not the Eastern. And it was a dream come true as an adult to be able to go through the Western battlefields.
Mm-hmm.
They're more pristine. They're not as encroached as the Eastern, but you can see the history, and so many important battles and leaders came up through the Western Theater. And so if you like the Western Theater, have not been able to get there, I'm going to try to bring more out coming up. So, so that's a passionate thing. And listen, I'm here because you guys are here. You guys in the chat are rocking it tonight. Thank you, all of y'all that have been here. I get this is a great stress relief. I love doing this stuff. I love you guys out here. Florida Poopas, I love you and your history knowledge out there too. And we'll keep picking on Bragg all we want to. Okay, absolutely. And he says, "Fire the parrot rifles, Mr. Gridley." Squawk. All right. All righty. So shall we look at the fort itself?
Yes.
All right. So if y'all have any more questions about whatever or the history, whatever, like I said, it had a brief history in terms of the Civil War, not a lot really going on. And we'll talk a little bit about camp life at the end, but hey, all right. So these might move a little bit faster because these really are just, pictures from the outside.
We're driving by. Picture.
Yeah, I know. Well, like I said, this was a great weekend. This was a day. A lot of these pictures are the day I went without you. You remember the day I went and I was busy? I did it without you, and I got off amounts of pictures. I was busy talking football, and I was busy taking pictures. I mean, like I said, fun forts and football on a weekend. Yep. It was hilarious.
Yes, you hilarious. Had fun.
Yeah, just not the right history. Oh my gosh, that would. So basically, from the exterior shot here, walking up from the parking lot. Now, if you notice, does anybody notice anything odd in this picture offhand? Mrs., do you see it?
Is it the rounded roofs?
No.
You
remember what this thing is famous for? Look to the left side.
The lack of wall?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, the lack. See, I told you he was going to sit here and test me, and I was going to go, oh. Yes, the lack of wall. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there. You can see it on the left there, but this is
point to it so they can really
right
see
there,
where it's
right
at.
Here. You see there?
Where the lack of is that truly is it? Yep.
It looks like one of your crossword puzzles. So.
Yes.
All right, so you can still see the size. It's big walls, and you can see why it's was very formidable at the time. This is another approaching the entrance, the Sally Port, but there's another spot where you can see that the wall was gone there, or bastion. It's bastion number 5, not bastard, bastion. Then we this is a little video here, and let's see if I can stop it a second.
Oh.
No, it wouldn't let me stop that one. But you see, you look outside, there's more of the wall around the exterior defensive wall. And then we go back to the fort itself. And there's the Sally Port. The Sally Port is the entrance to the fort.
And then there's the lack of wall.
Yes, there's the big hole in bastion number 5. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So... let's see.
What do you guys think happened? No, it did not sink into the swamp.
Ooh, I had audio on that one. That's pretty cool.
Well, I don't think we heard it.
It's probably not because I'm not going through Google. It sank into the swamp. Not quite. Snortipoop is not quite. A little bit different. But what we have here are some of the exterior views up on the top wall. This is one looking towards
It
the
was
Gulf.
beautiful. It was beautiful to see the
Hmm.
expanse. Um, I just, yeah, that it
And we
was
had good
amazing to
weather.
me.
We had relatively good weather too. That was what
Yes.
was neat because we
Well, it had
go ahead.
sprinkled and rained, and so it wasn't quite as miserable. It was a little miserable, but not horrifically miserable.
Well, we got Shrek built it, used it to build his hut. Mark
Hmm.
crashed. Dadman crashed into it.
Ah, maybe.
Oh my gosh! Oh well.
Very good
Any other
answer.
guesses out there? That'd be awesome to hear about some more guesses. Oh, but but yeah, I mean, it's you can see the exterior road there. This is, I think, one of the other surviving bastions. What was interesting to me was the interior of the fort. Usually have playgrounds, but they had a lot more mounds and vegetation inside of it than a lot of the four forts that I've ever seen before. It really had a huge it really had a huge interior area. It was larger than what I
Yes.
remember at Fort Pulaski.
Hmm.
It really was, and definitely Fort Clinch. So our Poopa said it was either blew up or cannibalized to build low income housing for hermit crabs.
Hmm.
Oh, I
Well, we
love it.
need to think of our hermit crab brothers and
Exactly.
sisters.
Another one. This is back over into the interior. That's what I'm saying is it was so large inside of it.
Hmm.
I mean, and because when
I
you
lose
consider,
my perspective of the pictures sometimes
hmm,
of where they actually were, um, even though I probably took some of them.
yeah, it was. I will tell you, it was something because I've been to Fort Sumter is in
Actually,
the
I
middle of the
think you
Atlantic.
took that picture because there's your thumb on
Yes, I
top of
know.
it.
I know. Leave it to me, Dad manning it. So, but yeah, it's Pulaski also. I mean, it was just interesting, and it was a coastal fort. It was just kind of odd how this fort really seemed to have a lot of. It was a lot bigger than some of the others that we
Yeah,
visited.
it was very big. I do agree with
Yeah,
that. The fort proper.
right.
Yes.
And here's the exterior from the east, the wall, the defensive walls, and then there's the downward. Now, I don't like calling it a moat. It's because it's not really. You can put a body other defenses down in here, but basically these are obstacles to protect it from invasion from a land invasion
Hmm. But
to
they could put those little spiky things. What were
the,
those called?
the abati
Abatis.
or
Yes.
abati. It depends
Yeah.
on how you pronounce it. So
Those things were
absolutely
wicked.
no, yeah, they can be. I mean, they really can be.
Yeah.
So, uh, so that that gives you a good view of that, and you can see in the background that with the Confederates advancing would have had to come through all that bush and forest and marshy area to and then launch an attack. So
But do we really know if all that stuff was there? Because weren't we at one fort one time and they said, there's a lot of trees and stuff now, but at the time there wasn't. So there wasn't as
yeah,
much forest as there was today. I mean, the actual terrain
yeah. But see, a
it
lot. I think
changed.
in this case, I don't think they. But see, a lot of those they clear out and things like that. I think that these have been there for,
For a while.
part of the
Okay.
terrain and stuff like that because they talked about marshes and other things and stuff in that area. So it's and honestly, I walked that trail. You're going to see one of the trails.
Uh huh.
It is kind of swampy, marshy in some of that part.
Oh,
I actually had to stop and turn around because there was flooding on the trail. So
wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yes, yes, and I've heard it pronounced abati, abati. It just different ways
Abatis.
to yeah,
Abatis.
abatis.
Abata is. It's
Uh,
Abata is. I'm just kidding. I know it's not that.
well, where's Whoopa when you got baseball? Hey, you have baseball. Make it a baseball term. Uh,
Oh,
so this a much better view of the Gulf from the upper
yes.
wall here. And there's the road driving in that I that we showed you from earlier. Again, from the upper walls, you can see the other bastion in the fort over in this area. You notice there's some black metal looking structures at points, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And hello, Yemi.
Hey, Yummy.
Welcome, my friend. Welcome. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you, my friend. So, good luck with working on taxes too while you're at it. So,
Quit bringing
well,
that up.
why? Okay, I'm sorry. We
Let
accountants
him
is
enjoy it without talking about Texas.
okay. Well, taxes make a lot of people happy
Oh,
if you're
okay.
preparing them and making money.
Yeah,
So
okay.
anyway, well, good to see you. We got 8 people here. Make sure you like us on the stream on YouTube and subscribe on the YouTube. And oh, he's crying though. I guess. Oh man, sorry.
See, you make him sad every time you bring it up. He does the little cries.
All right. Well, see, you got somebody on your side. So hey,
I've got your back, Yummy.
yeah. And as Snortopoopa says here, it's a French word that means quote massive things beaten or cut down.
Or
I like
maybe it
the
means
second. Go ahead.
pointy sticks. Maybe it
Yes.
means pointy sticks. I like pointy sticks.
Uh,
That's what I would
yes.
have called it.
Pointy sticks. Oh my
Bring
gosh.
out the pointy sticks.
Oh, all right. Well, this is a view of where Fort McCree is supposedly standing.
Oh, okay.
See, it's over in that dunish area, and the only way you can get there, I guess, is by boat.
Oh, wow.
And that's how little. I mean, that they decimated the hell out of that fort because
Right.
you had 2 Union gunboats and a fort with massive artillery
Oh, wow.
pounding it.
Oh,
Talk about pounding sand.
yeah. Poor little fort. What did it do to you? Oh, wait. It was probably shooting back.
Yes, it was. But I tell you, the firepower in those forts were not anything compared to what was in Fort
Right.
Pickens. So that's why they were the smaller forts, and they could
Mhm.
not stand
Right.
up. So we got that. Then we got another one. This is a view towards Fort Brackus. Remember to the north, over towards where that
Are
lighthouse
those
is.
barracks buildings right there? In what is
These were
the
used in World War II. I think over the years, they were built on the island when the other batteries were built and stuff.
right?
So they are barracks, yeah. Because remember, it was an installation up to 1947.
Right. Right.
So, so there's where Fort Brancas was. That is, and I think another view of it, and then because I take multiple views of the same thing too. So,
Did
but
you get the naval yards? Did you see the naval
yeah,
yards from
the
this?
naval yards are in the background here. I
Okay.
think the last one was the naval yards because you see the
Yeah, I
so
think it was too.
yeah. Yeah, that was over towards the naval yards. I didn't see them, but I got the general direction. And then just like a monument with a mortar here, not necessarily a cannon. Your forts like this really would have more cannons for fighting against sea invasion. Mortars could be used for uh, fighting off land invasions. So, but they're nice view of Pensacola Bay there. A view out of one of the uh, galleys at the fort. Where actually infantry can arm it and shoot out against land invasion. Um, it's also because see this is part of the arch here, and you can put infantry down in here. When above it, you have the cannon. So like to talk about a double arch. You had for structural integrity, you had 2 different arches to give support. Um, like
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So it's to support and distribute weight onto vertical piers. The weights absorbed by the piers transferred to the reverse arch and the foundation to minimize sinkage into the sand. So they had a cut and a notch up here so that you could actually turn the cannon.
Oh,
So yeah, and they were cut out in 1841 when the U.S. Army adopted new carriage design. So
interesting.
13-inch mortar. Not that anything about mortars. Yeah, deny it. Always deny it, Snortopoopas. Always deny it. It's the quiet ones. So, but yeah, this was neat with all the looking in um, underneath it. You
Mhm.
see, and they can because the guns will be planted up top, or the cannon that is.
Right.
So now about the buildings around it, the wooden buildings in the area were built by the Army between 1900 and 1910 to support the Coast Artillery Corps, which is sea defense basically. Because back then,
Mm.
we didn't have radar, we didn't have all this other stuff, fast ships, air surveillance, and everything. So you always had to, you always were worried about somebody coming to
Right.
do something. So you had to add coastal watchers. So as the cannon positions expanded beyond that fort to the concrete batteries, so did these. You needed these other buildings like we saw over there. You have administrative,
Mhm.
housing, dining, all that type of stuff that
Right.
you needed to support your troops in the field.
Right.
Yeah. And here is another view across the
That's such a
parade
pretty
ground.
picture. That's such a pretty picture. Did I take that
Absolutely is.
picture? I think I did.
If not, we'll give you credit for it. How's that sound?
That sounds good because it's a pretty picture.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. All right. I
I
love
even
and I
waited for the flag to kind of be
yeah.
unfurled.
What was interesting is this fort did not have a lot of steps in it though. Unlike some of the others I've been to. Well,
I
we've
do
had one
agree
in
with
Fort Pierce.
that. I do agree with that. It did not have a lot of steps.
Yeah.
And my
There's more
knees were very thankful.
yeah, there was one spot I think that there were some steps and it kind of was difficult a little bit, but
Mhm.
yeah, we got this and the parade grounds are where they would drill, and more drill some soldiers would say if they were stationed out in a thing like this. Because remember, the fort did have two actions in the first year of the war, but after that, didn't. So could you imagine being stationed? You wouldn't have to fight, but imagine the boredom and everything else that comes with being in Florida, and especially the summer. So we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. A lot of these are here we go. Can you hear?
No.
Oh man, they're playing. It's the bugles playing. I've got to.
Oh,
It's because of that Google thing. I did it
yeah.
again. So, but this was a rifle demonstration day too when they had it out there.
I always love it when they do cannons and when they do artillery, any kind of artillery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when they we were once at Castel de Marco, and I recorded the entire of them doing the cannon, shooting the cannon. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing how they did it and the precision.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, it's always awesome if you can watch a
Mhm.
live fire demonstration. If you can watch
Mhm.
cavalry, a cavalry charge
Mhm.
too, when they really do it. So it's those are two things you don't always get to see. If you
No,
ever get a
no.
chance, they're worth it.
I agree.
Yep. And we talked about the Rodman guns with certain smooth bores and stuff like that. Uh, this one was installed in 1868, but never fired in combat. These smoothbore rifles were the technology at the start of the war, but they gradually got replaced by uh, breech loading and rifled artillery. We're going to look at that in a little bit, and I'll explain the significance of that uh, is. But this one had a maximum effective range of 3 miles. Fire a 15-inch diameter explosive shell weighing about 300 pounds or solid 450-pound shot. So,
Wow.
and if you see at the bottom, you can't see here, but there's a metal rail, and that's where you could turn your cannon left, right to
Mhm.
fire in any direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the whole, I suspect they liked it better to serving someplace warmer like Chickamauga. Oh yeah. Oh, Chickamauga. We did visit Chickamauga. We got pictures.
Oh,
I've got to put
we're
them together.
insane, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. You don't hear. I don't think they can hear you on
No.
narrating this.
This is me attempting to use a gimbal again. I think I did a
Yeah.
pretty good job.
Yes, I think you did great. And notice, folks, what I was saying earlier. Look at this blackened. It's metal and brick. It's a different type of construction than
Is it
the original
newer?
walls.
Is it
It's
newer than the
newer.
original?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's the stuff that was started building around World War I.
Okay. Oh, and that look, there's something missing.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yep. Exactly. So next time I'm gonna have to work on the StreamYard on Google next because I think that's the reason why it's not coming through on the YouTube side.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah.
folks. I'm experimentating. So, but that's a parade ground again. Of course, you look at all the vegetation that I think a lot of this has grown in over the years, but still,
Mhm.
you imagine if it wasn't there, how big thing it would
Mhm.
be. Almost started poopus. Almost. Oh, well, and here's more of the interior, the mounds and the exterior walls we got there. This is some of the in-ground defensive stuff. You can, so, sleeping quarters, or you store ammo, protect it with the earthen mounds inside the fort. Some we saw some of these at Fort Pulaski, which is a lot smaller though.
Mhm.
Which it would I that'd be good comparing Fort Pulaski to this fort too with what we'd
It would
seen.
be.
We may have to go back to Fort Pulaski one weekend and just do a day trip and just kind of get up to speed.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be
Yeah,
fun.
now that we're doing this. So, and here's a view of the Gulf from the upper walls. This is facing Battery McCree, from the Gulf to over to Battery McCree, over to Pensacola. Fort Brackus is in that now. We just get Fort Brackus there. And as we go to the right, it's more where the Pensacola Navy Yards are in that direction. So that's a kind of a panorama. Well, probably about 270 of that view. So really big area. It looks big, but I tell you what, if you had cannon that can shoot out there and there's ships coming in, it's not that big. I
Where I
mean,
was standing is where a cannon was,
mm-hmm,
and that's where I took that spans around so you can see. That's kind of like where probably part, not all of it, but where the cannon, its range
yeah.
was all that because they
And
could.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were
But
gonna.
at the bottom, there's those metal rails we were talking about.
Mhm.
When you have your cannon on it, then you can place them, and then they on that track you can rotate them left, right, whichever direction you need to fire.
Mhm.
So that's another one we got here. All right, we got
Oh, hey, Teddy. It's
yes,
George. Actually, its name is George.
yes. So with one of the smooth boards that are up here, we got more. These are things. These were the one set of
Oh, those
stairs
are
that
the
got
stairs
you.
that. Oh, I did not like them because they didn't really. I did not trust the railing,
Yeah, that was very brittle railing. It
and
was
I
not.
have bad knees, and so I was very nervous going down
Yeah,
them, but we did it.
I was there to catch you. All right, now this one.
It's just the
Let's see. This is where we were going to talk about that situation. So, Mrs., I'll let you go ahead and talk a little bit. What did you find out about this? What?
okay. The missing wall, the mystery of the missing wall. Well, it happened in the year 1899, the month of June, the 20th day. There was a fire at Fort Pickens, Bastion D, and it reached the Bastions magazine, and it contained not 1,000, not 2,000, not 3,000, not 4,000, not 5,000, 6,000, or 7,000, but 8,000 pounds of powder, which is the equivalent of about 3,600 kilograms for our friends up in Canada and in other parts of the world that use the metric system. This resulted in an explosion, surprise, surprise, that killed one soldier and it obliterated Bastion D. The force of that explosion was so great that bricks from that wall flew 1.5 miles away and landed across the bay at Fort Barack, Barrancas, Barrancas.
Baracus.
I want to
Baracus.
put that in there, Baracus.
Think of
So
Mr.
that
T.
yes, so that solves the mystery of the missing Bastion D. It went kaboom. You were right, Snortopoopas. It was a big, major kaboom.
That was, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they have a marker about that with it. Now, what the Rangers told us was that there's some uncertainty of what happened.
Hmm.
Some thought maybe a guard on duty was smoking and a cigarette did not get extinguished properly, or
Well,
something
they
else
don't
might have
really
happened.
say what caused the
Well,
fire.
right,
They
and
just
that
say that a
yeah,
fire reached the magazines.
right, and
So,
that's why the guards on duty, the Rangers at the park said that they they don't. There was some question about exactly how it started. So what's that?
huh. Okay, well, first off, we have an earth-shattering kaboom,
Uh huh.
exactly. And then we have holy moly, great brick tossing, Batman. And then we have smoking kills.
Wow. Oh God, y'all are great. Hey, that's awesome. Hey. By the way, everybody give Mrs. I love the way you gave that a dramatic reading.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. You're a lot more interesting. Golly,
Yes.
can I turn the show over to you?
No, it's your show.
Oh, yeah, but you're my better half. You know.
I know.
Okay. Yes. Oh, well,
I'll
one.
agree with that.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, a little bit more specifics about that. Was that one? One man was, like you said, one man was killed, four badly injured, one having his arm and leg broken. The larger magazine, which stored a great quantity of dynamite and explosives, and the forts were saved by the brave work of the captain and the Marines from the Navy Yard. The loss will reach $75,000. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, that was what they figured the damage would be at the time.
oh wow. But at the
Oh.
time, that was a lot.
It is said, and here's what this article said. It is said that cement barrels were being burnt. How do you burn cement barrels? But it was said. Okay. This is from the Los Angeles Herald. I'm actually going to bring this article over. So bear with me if I crash the stream. It's my fault. Are you still there? Is everybody still
Yes,
there? All
I
right,
think
just
so.
checking.
Oh, wait,
Uh
there.
oh. God, jeez. Oh yes, yeah. Misses such modesty.
Hey, modesty is only for
Uh,
those who are. Well, never mind.
yeah. According to this is from the Los Angeles Herald. God, California existed back then. I keep forgetting we had California back then. But anyway, and a news article about the explosion and talks about the loss reaching $75,000. And said the cement barrels were being burned and the grass became ignited, spread to the magazine. As I said, the Rangers on duty when we were there said that it was some talk about a sentry on guard duty that may have had a cigarette that got away and caused the fire. But even then, nobody knows for sure exactly how it happened, what happened. All
Yeah,
they knew was a hellacious explosion. And
yeah.
can you imagine? Can you imagine? Did it say how far through the water? The water that
It went 1.5 miles away. It landed across the bay 1.5 miles or 2.4 kilometers away.
let me see. Let me see if I can get back to the right. Let me see if I
Find,
can.
see if you can find a map.
Yeah, hold on.
You might
I'm
have to
going.
go to another
Yeah, I mean, just to try to
spot.
get some context of that. That's the thing. Let me see. Yeah. So, welcome everybody. Hey, let me see. Let's go
Oh,
back
that's
to the.
about 2.5 million. Two 2.5 million, a little over 2.6 million, almost $2.7 million in today's
Wow.
money.
See, and because from there, imagining one and a half. Golly, that's probably that might have been because these kind of had three
Well,
mile ranges.
no, I would
So
go toward kind of where Fort Baracus, because it was in the bay where Fort,
yeah,
so like kind of, but probably where they intersected somewhere
yeah,
in there.
yeah. That's still amazing. That is amazing Oh, thank you, Snortopoopas. Yep. But yeah, that all that brick to fly that far. Good. Yeah, good thing you
It's
weren't
a
near
shame there
near it.
wasn't an enemy in the water. They could have gotten hit. No, sorry.
Oh god.
How did we lose our ship? Well, sir, there was this brick in it.
Flying bricks.
There was a flying brick. Yeah, okay. How much did you drink that day?
Oh my gosh, yes. All right. Well, we're back to another view of this wonderful fort. So this and folks, look at how wide the damage was. I mean, just an explosion. Now they did, according to the articles I wrote, they did clear out. So the explosion didn't take it all the way down to the ground. But what they did is they ended up cleaning up the area
Well, for
because when they
safety.
because you see they had to build this back stuff back here eventually.
Hmm.
So you know, instead of coming through that teeny little sally port, this provided a good way to come in. So you clear out all the debris here. So
Hmm.
so
Well,
it was
and at the time, this was a working
mhm,
facility.
right.
It wasn't on the national historic, uh, whatever registry of historic buildings, whatever.
Look at this. Look
Yes,
at
I
this.
agree. I agree. I agree. I think he drove the car. He drove the car through it. Yep.
Somebody help me, defend me. Jeff, Snorpoopus, Squeaka, Stunning, help. Market is just because I like explosions in Fortnite. But could you imagine being there, and having it all go up like that? That just
You
would
know
have been
how the whole
scary.
place probably just shook.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. But I'll go ahead and say the stuff that was built in the back, they they cleared a lot of this out so that they could go through there instead of the small Sally
Right.
port, which
Right.
makes oh great. Smoking in the head again.
Yeah.
It was aliens. Jeez,
It was
you
those
guys,
tacos
alien
that did
bananas.
it.
Oh my gosh, I just can't wait for Stunning to say, coming to my defense. My gosh, with supporters like that, hey, love you guys. Thanks for being here. All right, let's look at the next one we got here. And no, all right. Hey, Atwood,
Hmm.
I know you'll help me. Squeaka, Stunning, help.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nope,
Nope.
nope, no help.
And if there wasn't a gas station there, he brought gas cans.
There you go. Another close-up view of this. You can tell the jaggedness and with it.
That's crazy.
Oh my god, how about this? What kind of help? There's no semi part. It's not damn. Need a bad parking job too. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Okay,
Oh
see,
gosh.
she kind of defended you.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Defend me, Edward. Yes. Oh, bad parking. I love it. All right. More up close inspection of the damage. I mean, really how it blew this stuff out was just the power of it to do. And amazing, only one person was injured, and
Well,
four.
when you talk about the power of a blast like that,
Mm-hmm.
remember when there was that industrial explosion and
Yeah, by
we
our
were,
house.
yeah, but it was miles away
Yeah,
and it did damage. The repercussion, the whatever, the shock wave did damage to houses in our neighborhood, and it was miles and miles away.
yeah,
So, I mean, I
yeah.
could the power of this, you know, just is just mind-boggling to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not surprising it's so.
Okay. Thanks, Atwood. Oh, oh gosh. Well, like you can see how much of the fort it really did damage
Yeah.
here. It's really up close. This is looking out towards the Gulf, down the exterior wall in here. Um, the interior walls were a little bit weird too, because if you see to the left, like Fort Clinch and even Fort Pulaski, there's like covered areas that you walk under brick. This seemed a lot more open than those that we have around
Mhm.
here.
Mm.
Oh gosh, now we're getting crazy. An orc came along and blew it up. Maybe. Hey, well, we got
Sure,
a Lord of the
sure.
Ring. We got a Lord of the Rings reference in tonight.
But the Hobbit stars aren't in this one.
That I tell you what, Alaska Jeff, I do want to show you at some point down the road because you know you're a student of history and we're talking about doing some things. There's a Fort McAllister, that I will do a show down the road with. I swear it looks like the Shire. There are mounds where they stored ammunition, where soldiers slept underground and stuff. It's like a village out, like the Shire, really, with the mounds. It really is incredible.
Yeah.
And the first
Mhm.
time we ever walked there was early morning, and there was deer in the park. So
It was really cool.
yeah. So all right. And we got a lot more of this stuff too, and that metal stuff in the back will be something significant. This is a upper deck view back towards Fort Brackus, with the missing wall there. More of the parade ground picture, you know. This really, and like we said, we talked about size. This parade ground is huge compared to
It
Fort
is
Clinch and
humongous.
Fort Pulaski.
Would they ever have people, like soldiers tent and camp in that area, or was it only for, um, uh, practice or
Well, I
pageantry?
well, one thing to remember because I get Clinch. You remember Fort Clinch is near here. They still have buildings in the parade ground, so
Mhm.
there were probably buildings in this at one time.
And they
Fort Pulaski, there had no buildings; they had raised them and all. So there
right,
were
okay.
probably a combination of buildings where they could sleep and eat, and mess halls and stuff like that. Some of those, like at Fort Clinch, are built into the walls, so it depends on how it
Right,
was set up. But probably they also had the ability to tent and stuff also.
right.
So
Hmm,
probably a combination,
okay.
but this was a huge parade ground, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, um, and as you can tell from this, uh, so and upper view when they had the mortar fire, when they had the musket fire down low, they didn't want people to walk up top, even though they're just not just percussion caps and stuff like that. Let me see. I've got to see. I'm not sure. Let me bring this down a second because I didn't think this was my last one. Oh crap. Anyway, but yeah, what how have you thought about that so far, Mrs.?
Oh, I just think it's neat, and I kinda like the fact that they never repaired the, damage, like, some of the forts and things, they repair them because they have to, because they're using them. But it's kind of interesting to see things that aren't repaired, like when we go to the ones that you can still see the, indentions where the cannonballs hit,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of explains, like, what was the fort that used the coquina shells? And
That was Castillo de Sabarcos.
yes,
Sorry for
and
mispronouncing it.
Castile, I can't say it
Castillo de
properly.
San Marcos in St.
Yes,
Augustine.
and they talked about how, um, it kind of absorbed the impact of the the cannonball, which was really interesting. So they kept some of that. So and some the one we went to where you could see the actual, uh,
Mm-hmm.
cannon damage on the outside walls and things. I just think it's really interesting when you see that it's actual there and the history. It's not just a
Mm-hmm.
photograph. It um, makes it much more interesting
Mm-hmm.
for me because I mean you actually see it and you can imagine it actually happening. I think more so than just looking at a photograph.
Well, like
So
you
I
said, yeah. Go
I mean,
ahead.
I could
Sorry.
sit there and see that big gaping hole and
Mm-hmm.
knowing the facts about it,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of, close my eyes and imagine kind of what happened and,
Yeah.
and how would I have felt then. I think that is a very unique experience that some of the stuff that you can't get out of history books. I mean, there's times that you don't have a choice, but actually being on the land
Mm-hmm.
and being there, and sometimes going on to some of the battlefields where thousands of people died, and it was just so emotional because it wasn't just a patch of grass or just a picture in a book. I mean, this is where the history actually happened, and it just makes it much more meaningful and brings it so much more impactful to me, um, actually being in the places where stuff actually happened.
And like you said, the visible reminders really are a big thing. So, oh my gosh, what did did y'all blow a hole up in something in Destiny 2?
There are
Oh,
holes everywhere in Destiny 2. You have to jump over, jump on, jump around. Oh, jumping, jumping, jumping.
oh my
Oh, I
gosh.
hate jumping. I'm actually gotten better at it, but
Yeah,
yes.
there you go. Yeah, I know y'all have fun with that. Yeah, but like you said, the Fort Pulaski, we'll do one down the road with it. Is just
Mhm,
has historical, and I'm about to hit something that's famous for. It had a wall that was breached that forced its surrender in like record time. It was unsuspected, but the breach threatened the stability, the exposure of powder magazines. We see here the result of what happens when a powder magazine explodes.
mhm.
Well, I won't spoil everything with Fort Pulaski, but there was, yeah, you could see it. It's not, they did rebuild it, but it's odd. It looks different. You can see it,
Mhm,
but you can still see the big holes in spots in that.
mhm.
And it shows she sees it. So
Oh, that's right.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I was
Let me
reading your
get.
notes.
I know. Well, let me see that I can crack
Okay, let
lands
me
off.
read let
Okay,
me
go ahead.
explain this. Okay, we were playing and Fortnite, and there was this one thing where you
Was
jumped
it
up on
Fortnite
this
or was
I
it
mean,
Destiny?
Destiny 2, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
and we had one spot where you had to jump up kinda like on this slab of rock,
yeah,
and I somehow fell in between the rock and the wall, a rock and a hard space, literally. I
yeah.
could not jump out. Atwood did not know where I was at. So he jumps down onto the rock, and I look up, and all I see was his character's butt. And I just started laughing. I said,
Oh,
I can't get out, and all I see is your butt.
oh God. Yeah, well,
Yes,
she's
I
cracked up
cracked
now
up
too.
literally. Literally, I cracked up in more ways than one.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
so funny.
Oh, that's too funny.
Oh, goodness.
That's too funny.
But yes, that's
Yeah.
where that came from. But okay,
Yeah, and
sorry.
Star Pooper said during the American Revolution, Fort Sullivan in Charleston was built from palmetto logs, which absorbed the hits from the British cannonballs. Later rebuilt and renamed Fort Moultrie. Yes, we actually visited Fort Moultrie, and that was
Hmm.
a nice place to visit. But then again, I had the Morris Island. You had like 3 forts. You also had Castle Pinckney in Charleston Harbor. So everywhere you had 3 or 4 forts, 5 forts, some of varying sizes that command the channels and you know protect the ports. So yeah, absolutely that. And that's the funny thing is like we'll see with earthen forts like Fort McAllister or Fort Donelson. Hey, dirt is a great way to build because you just go out there and throw some dirt in it and replace it,
Hmm.
patch the holes that way. So, but thank you, Snorta Poopas. So basically, what we talked about earlier, you remember the dark spots, the black stuff, the metal. Well, basically, over time, you know, the brick and stone, the masonry forts were outdated, became outdated. They became obsolete, and where that happened was at Fort Pulaski because the walls were breached and the powder magazine was exploded. I was explaining why it's important. Oh my gosh! Hey, Balzette. Hey, but you made it. You made it.
Yes,
Thank
thank you for
you.
coming by.
You're here. Thank you, Balzette. So, but coastal defenses. We talked about harbor defense. Everything else, same thing. Even after the American Civil War, you had the Spanish American War. You had leading into World War I, World War II. You still had defensive needs on the coast stuff. So, but it changed. The nature of the enemy changed, and the nature of things changed. Uh, they had to build concrete structures to support what they called rifled cannon. Okay, these artillery corps trained to man these anti-ship artillery, and later also anti-aircraft batteries here at Fort Pickens. And what we see, here's an example of one of the batteries that were developed. This is an entrance to it. You can see the concrete fortifications with it. It's also brushed around it to conceal for some camouflage. And you know, and this is a signed fort within a fort. We're going to show you something in a second up on top of that metal area there. For like I mentioned, the new Fort Pickens was past its prime. New rifled artillery could penetrate the brick walls. Army took this brick fort and reinforced it with concrete battery Pensacola. The fort within a fort had two 12-inch rifles on carriages that could disappear behind the walls, firing 1,000-pound shells at ships 8 miles away.
Wow.
So they also had different batteries on this end of Santa Rosa Island, in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So your coastal defense was always something that was important. Okay, let me see. Oh, please tell me I can stop this. Please tell me I can stop this. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. This is where Dadman gets his rocks off. So, um,
Oh, excuse me?
yeah,
Yes, he really
I'm
is.
geeking out right now with this. See, what we talked about, one of the things that happened at Fort Pulaski was that the Union from 3 miles away at Tybee Island was using a lot of rifled artillery. They said World War One, they brought in rifled artillery. Well, if you look into the barrel of the cannon there, you can see the grooves. Okay, all those grooves. Whereas the smooth bore, it was smooth. Just a round ball projectile would come out. Well, in these, you'd have a projectile built for this, and that rifling would spin the projectile when it's fired. That projectile allowed one for longer distance, better accuracy, and had more hitting power than the old smooth bore rifle cannon, which, as the sign said, Fort Pickens was obsolete. What we find out later at Fort Pulaski was the first extended use of rifled artillery against a brick and masonry fort, and it collapsed the wall, breaching it, exposing the powder magazine, forcing this fort to surrender. So that's why when it says Pickens was outdated, it's because of the advent of rifled artillery, which was also being used on warships too, not just from mobile land cannon. Sorry, Mark, I got excited right there. Just had an excitement. So at least I didn't wreck a car this time. But here's another little bit more view of it from the other side. But you can see, and that rifling, like I said, is what allows that gives so much more of a hitting power to it, which led to these forts becoming obsolete. So then what you see is,
Does it make them? Does the rifling also make them more accurate?
yes, more accurate. They got better. They got increased distance, more accuracy, and harder hitting power. So, which those brick and masonry forts were designed against smoothbore cannon and things like that. They didn't have the hitting. They didn't have the ability to withstand that kind of damage. Like Fort
Right.
Pulaski, I wish we had here. We'll talk more when we do a Fort Pulaski stream, because you can see how much damage smoothbores did to it in spots. This was even harder.
Even
So
more. Wow.
yeah. So what we got, and this is battery Pensacola. See, it's a combination of concrete and you have metal railings, metal inside. A lot of concrete though, which was tougher than the old brick and masonry forts that were there. Yep, exactly.
Yes.
Snortopoopas comes through with a football reference, my friend. Spins the shell, thing of a term, rifling a football. Absolutely, my friend. Yes, sir. That's exactly right. So since the fort itself was outdated, this battery is what replaced it inside of it. So it kind of got a double
Right.
shell in a way. So, and Mark D with a C, I know, visited Fort Sumter a while back, and you see, and Mrs., you remember our visit to Fort Sumter, I hope, that we went, they had like the big area of display and stuff inside one of these things. So,
Yes, I do. I actually do remember that. I do
okay,
remember
yeah,
that.
and that's what's so odd, seeing that in the middle of a fort, but it's
Hmm.
because of that reason, because of the rifled artillery. So to improve it, to get more weight, to be able to handle the weight of these things and the shock from them, you needed better structures. So,
I
hey,
think
there's a Pokemon.
I think a lot of times though that we forget
Uh-huh.
that I do in a sense. I mean, we go to these places; they're historic sites, and and we tend to forget in a sense that these were actually working facilities and that they
Mm-hmm.
had to be updated and upgraded to be you know,
Yep.
but to be used. And I think this is just a perfect example of that. You see in this picture too. Hey George, by the way,
Yep.
you see the
And bye
olds.
Atwood
You
and bye
see,
Jeff. Thank you for coming, guys.
bye guys, thank you. You see the old, and then you see the newer together side by side, and it makes you remember that these were real, and and they
Hmm.
were relevant until you know for some time, a
Hmm.
lot of them.
Hmm. And this fort stayed in. It was commissioned up until 1947.
Right.
And yes, you do see some of this in Fort Sumter too. Definitely.
Oops, you passed
I,
one.
I know I did. Sorry. Okay. This is the thing with the fort within the fort. This is the well of where one of the gun placements was.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and this video should be the video from up above it, or around it. So we got this. Yeah. See.
Oh yeah, that was me trying not to get a picture of other people,
Yeah.
but they
But
kept walking.
yeah. At least it's muted. Yeah. But still.
Yeah,
But yeah, the cannon would be in that position and would be rotated around to wherever it needed to fire.
that's just something else.
Exactly. So, but yeah, and there's more there.
Oh, and is that where they had? Is that where they?
Hmm.
We walked down and looked inside
Oh
some of
yeah,
the.
I think I
Yeah.
have some of that. Yeah,
Oh,
it
cool.
would be. Would it be cool to spend the night in there in the dark and hear all
No,
this stuff? No, you don't think
no,
so?
I think it's haunted.
Okay. Well,
Ah, hey, no,
hey, I had to
hey,
throw some stuff for the Pokemon fans
Snorlax,
out.
hey, Snorlax.
We did have a lot of fun Pokemon Go too while we
Yes,
did some of our history stuff.
Snorlax.
So
What's Snorlax's name? Do you ever have a name for him, or is it Snorlax?
I just call him Snorlax. So
Oh, hey, Snorlax. I
uh,
accidentally called him Snortapoopus. Sorry, Snortapoopus. The snore and the Snorlax and Snorta, they kind of came out at the
well,
same
maybe they'll have
time.
a polar bear Pokemon one day if they don't
I think
already.
that would be adorable.
Yes,
I
it
think
would.
that's a distant cousins of Snortapoopus. So very distant. I think he's from Italy or something.
Some strange looking tourist.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. Here's some
Oh,
video. Yes.
okay. Now
This
I'm going to tell a story while this is running.
okay, while
Okay.
it's running. Go ahead.
So we're going through this area and whatever it was used for. It was kind of creepy in there. Okay? It was kind of creepy. Well, we had this wonderful parenting moment that this person did was put their child in there. And there's one part where you can kind of shut the door and shut the door on them while the child is screaming, terrified because it's creepy in there. You can't hear, you kind of hear the water dripping and yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it was like, you meanie mom, how dare you do that to your kids? You traumatized them. But see
Exactly.
the gate? See the gate? I think
Yep.
that was the one that they closed them on. It was horrible. I
Yep.
wanted to scold her, but seeing you can go back in there and it was just as creepy.
Yep. And you see the metal rails to the
They
cannon
used to,
above. That's how it would
yeah,
you'd rotate things. Yeah. But yeah, that was crazy that they did that to poor kid.
yes.
This is one
And
that had been good to have the audio with it
it
too.
wasn't tough love, Bowsette. It was just mean. It was mean. The poor kid was absolutely terrified.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
So yep. And then we go to walk out. Freedom. And exit
freedom.
to the court, the parade ground again.
There's a gimbal twisting and twisting. Let me out. Let me out.
I still all the undergrowth in there was kind of interesting. This here, folks, was a part of the battery in terms of like it says up above, ammo exit. So when the shell fires, the casing rolls down here.
Now that
So
was really cool to
yeah,
see. I'd never seen anything like that before.
yeah, because it has to go somewhere, and instead of
Yeah.
flying off hitting somebody, it returns down into this. You can see the way it's shaped, and then you take it out between
Now
rounds. So
the whatever went down there, is it something that could be reused?
it'd be like a bullet, but I
Yeah.
don't know. It's usually easier to just build new, but
Yeah. I don't know. I
I'm sure they recycled that stuff too. So,
yeah.
yep. So coastal defenses, we talked about spot, plot, and fire. We talked about battery 234 is one of them here. I'll try to go through this a little bit quicker, but basically to let you see that the coastal defense changed over the years. With the technology from cannons and things like that to these artillery pieces, and the control fires. Like it talks about how to find the range. You got people underneath, you got spotters, and then you go to the artillerists themselves and report the angles, vectors, and stuff to fire. So
That
it
would be a
was
neat stream all in itself.
mhm.
How was that done?
But what it said of interest by 1943, coastal threats had diminished enough that Battery 234 and Battery 233 across the bay interests were never armed or formally named. What had happened is why did we hear that the fort stayed open, was commissioned to 47, and why it was intense, and why that they modernized the coastal defenses was not necessarily uh, it became not necessarily as much as invasion as it was World War II, especially with the German U-boats off the coast of the U.S., especially up and down the East Coast, but even into the Gulf of Mexico. So you needed
Oh.
this stuff because they could drop off spies uh, or other espionage and things. But especially U-boat activity off the East Coast was very big early in World War II. So that's why coastal defenses really kept were important. They just evolved from the Civil War through World War One to World War Two. So,
Mhm.
and I like what Snow Poopa says. Close the door on the kid. Cue creepy voice. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Or Balzette. 1, 2. Freddy's coming for you. Oh my gosh, you guys are great out there. Torture the little kids. Hey, that's why we're 18 plus too. But hey, oh gosh. And this is another thing like the plotting room, the spotting tower. So the spotting
Mhm.
tower identifies it called plotting room, and then the uh, result fire based on the spotting and plotting.
Right.
So but yeah, and these were all up and down. Here's where it was bunkered at. Down here we get camouflage. This is from the back side. uh, the Gulf is on the other side. So, oh man, what'd you do to Snore Poopas? Oh, he's
I'm
snuffling.
sorry. I'm
Oh, and
sorry.
Balsat is behaving. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's okay.
Well, here's one of the artillery pieces. Coastal defense guns. Doesn't look like much, but it do some damage if it hits you. And
Yeah, wouldn't mind be the other end of it.
notice how it spins. You got the well
Yeah.
down there, so you can rotate it. Front view of it also can use elevate, de-elevate there, and battery Cooper. It's another battery. This another one of the units that they had here for the coastal defenses. It's like shooting duck. You see how it's framed low? It goes up, shoots, comes back down.
Mm.
It as we go in here, it says the rifles popped up, disappeared, reappeared like a jack in the box. So
Oh, very
this battery is built in 1906. 6-inch rifles mounted on disappearing carriages. So when the guns were fired, the recoil automatically loaded them behind the concrete wall, which protected crews while they reloaded the guns.
very interesting.
The
Very
counterweights
interesting.
returned them to the firing position.
Oh,
So,
wow. Interesting.
and these guns came from the Smithsonian because apparently during World War One, the U.S. removed them for possible use as railway guns in France.
Oh,
So, but
interesting.
yeah, I mean the islands, that side of the islands, filled with all those type of things. Another thing with coastal defense also deals with laying landmines, sea mines out there, or they used to call torpedoes in the Civil War. So you'd have a minefield around
So
the
there's a
harbor
lot of
entrance.
stuff that they did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Uh, their system remained in force till a major hurricane damaged the facilities in 1926. So, and then
Mm,
U.S. Navy took over the underwater defenses. So
right.
it never forget the power of torpedoes because that happened to a ship in the St. Johns River that has a lot of local history.
Oh, yes.
And about that says absorbs recoil too, keeps the cannon from blowing its mount to pieces. Absolutely, absolutely. And then basically another battery Van Swearingen, the type of thing. Like so, just and it talks a little bit about camp life. You 3 or 4 hour shifts. You'd hear something, can tell if it's German off a U-boat or not. So this battery was built in 1898 for two 4.72-inch Armstrong rifles. It was converted into a range finding station for Battery Payne, another battery and used throughout World War II.
Oh, wow.
So this talks a little bit about staying on guard. These are some more of the buildings in that area that were next to the fort itself. So some it
More
just
buildings.
more buildings, but I mean all is part of
There's
the
another
thing.
battery.
Yep, Battery Langdon, and
So
there's a
did
big
each one of
vein.
these batteries have different kinds of weapons?
It could be, yeah, they could have different. I mean, just depending
Okay,
on what they
that's what
armed
it
them with.
sounds
Yeah,
like. Okay.
yeah.
Huh.
This battery, they said that the first time artilleryman fired one of his hat blew off, his pants split, and saw concussion ripples in the sand.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's mm,
and it talks about it was even though it was built in around World War One, it was covered with soil during World War Two to camouflage it from aircraft.
interesting.
And of course, you wonder why, who would get down there, but you never know. You just protected from the enemy. So,
Hmm.
so
Well, you
it's
don't want to be that one. Oh, well, we just
yeah.
didn't think.
Yeah, and exactly. The shock from cannons firing also required short shifts. Same day with modern motors can literally rattle your brain. You know what's interesting about that point? Um, I was watching a recent documentary on another YouTube channel, and they talked about the improvements of U.S. Battleships specifically, but the anti-aircraft in World War II against Japanese fighters. And there were cases where they come back so shell shocked, just the land the plane, but the anti-aircraft fire was just so intense that they come back rattled. And so, yeah, all that exposure to loud noises, constant beating like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
You do have to shift away, and it just take pants split, right? Blame it on the gun.
I would. I
Yeah,
would.
there you go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The
There's
gun
another,
made me do it.
the gun. More mortar, damn phone. LL. I know. My phone takes the word busy and makes it butt. Never mind trying to tell somebody they're busy and you call them butt. It's like, geez, it's hilarious. And there's other words that it shifts all the way. That's the first one I had to remember. I mean, it's changing words on me all the time. So, and go to your point, Bow. Set here. Hold your ears and hold your rears if you want to protect your pants. But they did have mortars, battery worth. Uh, they were deafening. They told the gun crews were told to stay loose and keep your mouth open. Cotton was available, but most soldiers didn't use it and develop artilleryman's ear. So basically, they had gun pits on the left and right housed 12-inch mortars that could lob 700 projectiles an hour, penetrate ship decks 7 to 9 miles away. So half the armament was scrapped after World War I, but 4 were remained in 42. So
Whoops.
what have you been saying? It's not. It's autocorrect. What is autocorrect?
I
It
think
just
he is. We're aware of that. I think he's
it's
messing with you.
autocorrect. I know.
No, it's not. That's what he says.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Hmm.
Well, here's an up close of battery worth. Here, close here. It was a good area to visit. The Florida Trail, like I told you earlier, that I was on, runs from Battery Worth to the fort. It takes away part of the grounds of the Confederate advanced battle of Santa Rosa. But this is the one I had to stop because it got really wet and murky back in there, very boggy.
Hmm.
So they had a lot of rain, so I couldn't do it. And it was only 0.8 miles. So, it's just couldn't do it. Couldn't go all the way. I wanted to finish that ride. Another view of Battery Worth here again with this
Hmm.
sign. So, and I think that is it for that part. And I think we're getting close to the end. But we've got see.
Oh, can I talk about real quick one famous person that was
Absolutely,
at
yes,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it'll
Please,
take me
yes.
all of 2 seconds,
No, no, take your
but
time. I'm glad you
well,
brought this up.
it's not that deep, but,
Yeah.
there was one, I guess, famous person, you could say, that was, imprisoned at Fort Pickens, and it was during the Indian Wars, and it was from October of 1886 to May of 1887, and it was Geronimo. And if people don't know who Geronimo was, he was a Apache war chief, and he was imprisoned in Fort Pickens, and his along with several of his warriors. But their families were held at Fort Marion in St. Augustine. So, yes,
Hmm.
there was um, a famous
Hmm.
prisoner um, that was held there.
Yep. And that's another use for forts. You could, have high value prisoners at them too.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for letting
So,
us know that.
so that was my two bits of fact that I had. So I can now go take a nap. No, I'm just
Um,
kidding.
well, we're getting near the end, but basically, real quick, the part of camp life is boredom and everything else. Like I said, first year of the
Ah,
war had the action, and then you would be bored and have to fight the Florida heat and mosquitoes and everything else. So, uh, how do you do? You see, they had a baseball team. They had to, drill. One of the famous Civil War quotes was "drill, drill, and more drill."
mhm.
That's what happened. Or they stand hours on watch, do artillery drills, swatting mosquitoes here in Florida. So different types of thing. Uh, Even and then some hunted alligators, even though they were supposed to be not to be. So I was sort of
You
poop.
would do anything to relieve boredom.
Yeah, had a nice Florida vacation, all expenses paid. Oh my gosh. And then here, this some of the 1934 pamphlet by the Chamber of Commerce to disperse basic hygiene behavior rules for the men in the summer training camps. So,
Mm,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, a lot of them, yeah, demilitarized. So you can see the do's and don't. Do your part, carrying instructions, drink plenty of good water, use spittoons instead of the floor. Use your handkerchief, coughing or sneezing, throw your trash in containers. The don'ts. Don't neglect to report to your first sergeant if you do not feel well. Don't drink water unless you know it is good. Don't eat food that is spoiled, dirty, or that has been prepared in a dirty place. Oh man, all the different things. Don't associate with people who have catching diseases unless duty requires it. Don't leave anything around that will attract flies, ants, etc. What? Don't urinate and defecate except in the proper places. What do you mean? Number 12. Number 12. Don't. Don't associate with fast women or evil minded men. Hey,
Oh
it was
man, that's a
balanced. It was
yeah,
balanced.
hey, it was equal opportunity.
Hey, although still, you got to watch out
Yes,
for them
beer. A
fast
lot of
women.
times beer was safer, Mark. That's
Yes.
why. Yeah.
In some countries, still today, I think beer is safer, isn't it?
Well, I don't know that if that's necessarily the case, but hey, yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. So that, so that was a basic thing with camp life, especially in Florida. And remember, in the Civil War specifically, they had those heavy wool uniforms and stuff like that, which really added to the thing when you were in full dress and having to drill.
Okay,
So,
well, yes, you found it.
yeah, nice mark. Nice
And what did
mark.
they call the men? Fast women and
Evil minded. Yeah, evil minded men.
evil-minded men. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. Oh,
Hmm.
that is a hoot. Snort of poop is avoid fast women and slow bears.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't sure. So I just it's a three-man team operated nuclear weapon. Oh my. Oh, that's too funny. But hey, but that's about camp life. We've actually seen one where they did demonstrations, the cook on uh, the all the cast
Mhm.
iron and everything else and stuff like that. And that's another show for another day. The medicine's another show for another day. those type of things. But but basically here in Florida, it was boredom. You're not having action. It's not fighting. So you just drill, do more drill, and just beat the Florida heat. Try to not get sick, but dysentery. They had malaria because of the mosquitoes and other type of
Mhm.
tropical diseases that were around at the time, even in this area. So the couple little things that we do here, I'm going to bring up a couple little things. We'll do this here. Um, and we're about to wrap up in a few minutes. Thank you
Oh,
for 9 people still with us. But this is the construction in progress on the puzzle.
the puzzle.
And you can see
Yes.
my tent with my glorious air conditioner while I was watching football.
Yes. While we were out sweating doing this damn puzzle for 'em. No, I'm just not kidding. We really liked it.
Yeah,
We
y'all
like
did.
doing puzzles. We like doing
I don't
puzzles.
know if y'all like that stupid happy face one, though.
The
Y'all
happy
seem to,
face one, I'm debating on. Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
yeah. But, who knew smiley faces were
I
so
need to find
bad?
a place to put it and have the pieces lay out. Well, I have little trays for them so that you can walk by and kind of just stick a couple pieces in and it just
Hmm.
stay out. It'd be one of those kind of puzzles. And when you
Yeah,
find a piece, you celebrate.
exactly. Because let me see. Um, Let me see what this. Ooh, M28, 29 technology. Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. Let me see. Let me see with this real quick. Let me go back over here because I think our background tonight is the puzzle the background. But let me see something real quick. Let me bring this up here. I'm going to bring this up and let y'all see it because it's the puzzle. There you go. Man, I am really working something tonight. Hey.
You
All
are
right.
doing amazing.
Thank you. Okay, folks. This is the puzzle here put together. Just so you know, I've been talking and assuming. Sorry for the blurriness here, but basically, let's get this here. Fort Pickens is right here where my cursor is. Uh, Fort McCree is right here. Brackets is up here. So there's Pensacola. Santa Rosa Island is here. This is where it's located, like I said earlier, on the Alabama, right by the Alabama-Florida border. You can see Mobile Bay is over here. And then when you see later in the war, when they chose to evacuate Pensacola to reinforce Mobile Bay, it's a much bigger port area, and it was more strategic importance. So that's why you'd pull troops here, abandon Pensacola, and other troops move north to the Army of Tennessee. So just so that you know, this is where the fort is actually located. And that I wanted to make sure y'all saw that. And then I'm going to get back to the last two slides we have for the night. If I can pull them up quickly, properly. Yeah, here we go. All right. And then we got here. This was a video we took of some gravestones that were located over on the main part of Pensacola and with the plantation, and they were actually moved from there to Santa Rosa Island. And it was one of the leaders that built Fort Pickens, and yeah, there's grass, but the history of it. And if you look on some of these, let me see here. You can see certain things like there. I think there's rocks stacked on top of the broken tombstone.
You're not showing them.
Oh shoot! Thank you. There. How about
Yeah,
that?
that's much better. I'm
Thank
going,
you.
what are you doing?
I'm talking to myself. That's what I'm doing. But
Yes.
but you can see the rocks laid on top of the stone, the broken tombstone.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
very, yeah.
yeah, and it was. There's some coins I think on them too. So
Yes.
So we got,
Mhm.
yeah, and I think the last is going to be a still shot. So, but there's a family burials that were moved. The Chasefield Plantation Cemetery. It was located on land that is now part of Pensacola Naval Air Station. They were moved over to the island in 1957. Chasefield Plantation was the home of Major William H. Chase, who supervised the construction of Fort Pickens in the early 1800s. As we saw on some of the other slides earlier, that is, you know, who designed and oversaw the construction. And hello, Jess. Hey, welcome. Good to see you tonight.
Hello.
Always good to see you, my friend. So that is, I think, about what we got there. That was the last one with that. So that's that was pretty much. And yeah, Jess, I know, glad you made it. And anybody else, if you lurked, hey, thank you for lurking. And go back and watch the stream later if you missed the parts you missed. Check out our other stuff on the channel if you haven't yet. And make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube side and follow us on Twitch. But Mrs., anything else?
Mhm.
Any other thoughts that you have with this trip and anything else that steps out to you? I can't talk right now, but
No, no. The one thing I would say is that we cannot do it justice, no matter how good the pictures are or the videos or what we share. Um, Go out there and experience the history. Read the placards. Be standing where the stuff happened. Um, it's just so much more satisfying than um, just reading a book. If you can get to, if you can, if you can, go to these places and experience them. Some of them don't, they're not expensive to get into. Some of them ask for a donation. Some of them are free. But to go in and experience and see where things happen and kind of, I don't know, I liked trying to imagine if I was there, um, and I think it's just so much history is so important because if we don't remember the history, we're just doomed to repeat it. And there's so much out there that's being forgotten. And all these places they're precious. No matter what country you're in, go to your national monuments, your national parks, your historical places. We did one time just looked at historical markers. On the side of the road there was a historical marker. We pulled over and read it. Just history. There's so much of it, and I'm sure there's some even in your backyard. Go look around your city, your town, and you can find some neat things to go to. That's what I would recommend. It's fun doing
mm-hmm.
these, and it's fun sharing them, but it was fun doing going there.
And
Um,
honestly, hey, am I there? Yeah, there I am. And honestly, be prepared if you're on a journey and you see a sign, take a detour. We almost chased something for I don't somewhere one of the presidents off somewhere, and it wasn't Jimmy Carter. It was something else. But
it was
yeah,
Jackson. It was his Hermitage.
well, there was another one too. I think it was a
Uh,
Jackson type thing. But yeah, also look at your state historical site society, like you said,
mhm,
Atwood. But yeah, we the Hermitage was a trip in Nashville. We were just happened to stumble upon, hey, there's a sign. We're going to stop in Nashville the night. So we made a 2 day stay in Nashville because we went back the next day to see the Hermitage. And that's another
mhm.
story for another day. I need permission from the kids to tell because it was a hilarious story. But yeah, but hey, yeah, we're wrapping up. But yeah, snort a poop. It's almost time to go listen to the French Revolution while falling asleep. I
Mhm.
understand that. I've done that.
Well, we
But
appreciate you all
absolutely.
staying for almost 2.5 hours listening to us
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
our detour to Fort Pickens.
Yeah, and appreciate you people out there that are
Mhm.
lurking,
Yep.
people coming in, out, those that
Yes.
are just listening and not commenting. Thank you all for everything. And like I said, I'm here because of you guys. You guys, you know, your reactions are awesome, and it's nice to share stuff like this with you guys. And If there's questions on any of the stuff, ask them. I'll try to answer the best I can. Come over our football, basketball, same type of thing. We try to make it fun, laugh together, and just kind of have a good time. But this one's a little more serious type thing, and we can have some fun with it, and still just learn about history. There's just so much out there, and we've
Mhm.
got some trips coming up in the next year that are going to be really breathtaking. I honestly am about to travel to parts of the country I never freaking thought I'd go.
Yes, since we're doing our bucket
Yeah,
lists. We're doing
I'm
or my
like,
bucket list. We're doing things. It's going to be so exciting, and I'm hoping that I get the gimbal thing working good, and we can get
mhm,
some good stuff to share with you guys. Because
mhm,
yeah, we're just really excited.
mhm.
Maybe we'll even try to do a live stream.
All right, that could be cool
That
or
might be
dangerous.
interesting. I don't know if it would work, but we might try it.
Just as long as I'm not standing on a mountain, I might go falling over. So me and mountains don't do well together. But
Yes.
hey, but yes, all those things. Thank you all. Y'all are blessed. Thanks for being here, every single one of y'all. Uh, how long?
I would go, man.
How long
I would
is
go
it
in a
from? How long is it? Two questions. One, how long does it take to get from, say, Williamsburg, Virginia, to Connecticut? And two, how the hell do you get through DC at any time of day, or what time of day do you go through DC so you don't sit in traffic? Those two questions. Then I might say yes to that, Mark. I might have to say yes to that one. So two questions, but got clam pizza. Mark and his clams, guys. Hey. So yeah, absolutely. Go support my buddy Mark D with a C, who's now over 600 subs. And Mrs.,
Hey,
do you have that video ready? Let's play something funny for everybody. You
what
have it?
video?
The one Mark sent in the DM?
Oh, well, no, I didn't know I was supposed to get it ready.
Oh, I was just, well, why not? Since Mark's still here.
Well, I don't know if I can. Uh, give me a second.
No,
Give
it's
me a
okay.
second.
Sort of Poopas, thank you. Sort of Poopas says avoid the early morning or late afternoon rush hour for one thing. Okay. Yeah, probably, but I've never been up that way. Last time I did was my kid was was when I was a teenager and didn't have to drive. Me, and I get nervous when I drive a lot. Yes, and there's plenty of other Dadman emotes out there. Thank you, Jess, for putting those in.
It, but
Yeah,
I can, let me share this screen.
where did they go? Yeah, that's another great one. Okay,
Share the screen. Oh, crap. Let's see. No, wait, I did something wrong.
Mark said it's 500 miles, so not that close. Avoid DC drive around.
Yeah, it's fine. I looked, it's like 500 miles. So we're going to
Oh,
share screen. We're not going to hear it, but I'm going to kind of try to do the sound
oh, wait, wait, wait,
effects.
wait, 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 wait. 1 second.
Well, let
I
me,
would walk 500 miles. I walk 500 more just to be the man with that song.
I would love to do Amtrak. We're thinking of
Well, that's a
trying
bucket.
to
Hey, yeah.
we're
Okay.
thinking of trying to do Williamsburg and the changing of the leaves at the
November,
same time
October. Yes,
in
it'll be off
October.
season.
So we're
So,
hoping to
yeah. Okay.
um,
I do want to
yes,
hit the Civil War battlefields around Virginia.
yes. Okay,
So,
well, if you want to put this in, add it to the stream, and I'll do the sound
all
effects.
right.
Okay,
All right.
let me get here. You ready?
Yep. Go ahead.
Crash! Shh! Crash! Crash! Explosion! That's it. Don't let Dead Man drive. That's what he did.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Mark says they usually spend a few days in DC and then drive to Williamsburg.
There's so much in
So,
DC to see. Oh,
yes,
there really
yes.
is. I could just do the Smithsonian forever.
I know. Well, hey, is your house open? Is there extra room? But hey, but that's cool. Well, let me thank you, everybody. Those are kind of some of the future plans. But let me say something for this week. Remember Friday night we got Whoopa Troopa, great Whoopa Troopa. Come join us for some football talk. Hey, we can do all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk XFL, but you got football questions, we got answers. Come hang with us and have some fun with the great Whoopa. I mean, and me, and we have fun talking football. We answer your questions. And we the other night with March Madness and basketball, we can nerd out and make it geeky or nerdy, whatever. I know there's a difference, but hey, stats are a nerd's paradise or geek's paradise. So hey, you know, come
It's
join us Friday night at 7.
I'm gonna say something. I am not a big football person, okay? I'm just gonna say that. But I enjoy listening to them. I really enjoy listening to them talk. I
It's a
don't necessarily
conversation with a
comment
friend. Yeah,
I don't necessarily comment a lot, but I kinda lurk in the
yeah,
background and I listen, and it's really enjoyable. And I'm not lying. I'm not
yeah.
saying it just because I sleep with, one of them. So
Thanks. But
you're
yeah,
welcome.
Snortapoopa says, oh gosh, that's an interesting way to phrase things. But hey, Snortapoopa says you can visit where I grew up in Alexandria, Virginia. Just look for all the bear shaped historical markers. Dang straight. Hey, Mark Stone opened the door too. All right. And then, oh, are you excited for the Easter update to Fortnite? Make sure you downloaded the update. Crap. Yeah, I got to make sure it did. I got to make sure I did. Which one? What are you talking about? Fortnite updates, Yemi? Are you going to play Fortnite? I don't. Which one? Yeah, now Yemi's got me thinking. I got to like, what? What the heck?
Which one?
So, yeah, which one? But
Which
anyway.
stream? Which
Which one? Oh, the basketball stream was really nerdy the other night. We really rocked out with the numbers and stats and stuff,
that might
and
be what he's
yeah.
asking. Which ones
So
were nerdy?
it was Monday nights, but
Yeah, I
we
mean,
got
they make most of them nerdy. They start talking stats and stuff. They
hey,
talk lots of numbers.
that's where you break it down from the football
Yeah,
side.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, the myth. Oh God, Yemi, you're fired.
Oh, which one? Oh, the cute one.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yemi, we're gonna have a talk tomorrow. But
Am I
anyway, that's
still I'm very ambiguous though, aren't I?
yes, as always. Well, you got a great laugh out of Yemi, so I'm sure a lot of people laughed with that one. So they left with you and at me, so that's awesome. But hey, guys, hey, like I said, y'all are awesome. Y'all help encourage me, and honestly, I'm here, because of you guys and your support, and thank y'all. It's like talking with friends, and it's always a pleasure to kind of share some things that I like and enjoy and passionate about. I love hearing what y'all have to say, and you keep continue. Follow us on Twitch. Get your friends to come, your pets, dogs, whoever else. We're close to 200 on the YouTube side. Make sure you hit that like button tonight, and at 200 subs, I'll drink rainbow. I will drink blue unicorn soda for the missus. So I think it's honeydew, right?
Yeah, it's not gonna be bad.
All right. Well, still,
It's
I
not as
still got
bad
a
as the
couple other
butter.
ones in there. So,
The butter. Ugh.
no, the worst one was bacon. The
Bacon.
bacon one was hideous.
Did it have like an
That's
aftertaste?
that's the one Aang nearly projectile after, and I was like, "Oh, quit it, kid!" And then I took it, and I was like, "Oh my, well, yeah, there is something to the bacon." So with that, I've got that. So check us out on Friday night, and I got one last slide I wanted to say real quick, just as a reminder to everybody. We make it one-stop shopping around here. We make it so easy to follow all your Dadman needs. Dadman Walking 55 at YouTube, Dadman Walking 55 at Twitch, Dadman Walking 55 on Twitter. And the best way to keep up to date with what I'm doing, where I'm going with things, and especially last minute, late second streams or game streams. And I might do an impromptu chill chat sometimes. Uh, you know, that type of thing. We'll be
Twitter.
I'll just go Twitter. Yeah, thanks. I just and knowing you guys will come in and out there, we'll, even if it's a couple of us, we can chat. I look forward to doing some real chill chats where we kind of improvise with the thing. Although I have to keep stunning on Alicia a little bit. So, but yeah. Oh, did he say that? And I kind of hinted at it earlier, but yes, Alaska Jeff and I will be doing a stream scheduled for next Wednesday. Actually, we're going to do a chill chat with some themes about Alaska and Fortnite. At a minimum over here next Wednesday night. So graphics to come and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see you're excited. I'm excited. That's one more creator this month. Because speaking, looking forward to April. Be with me on, especially on Wednesday nights, because between seven, starting times may vary between 7 and 8, but this scheduled for this month, we've got Alaska Jeff next week with those themes. The following week on the 12th, I'm going to be talking theme parks and theme park fun and stuff like that with Lorena Creel, and Theme Park Casual are scheduled to be with me. Huge stream. I'm so happy with that one. I'm happy with all these streams. The next week on the 19th, it's Daisy Blossom returning for another movie. We're going to look at, guess what, Mrs.?
Oh, you told me. Oh, what
We
was
changed
it?
it from Airplane to Demolition
Uh,
Man,
oh,
the man
Demolition
that
Man.
the man that told
Yes,
the future. And
yes.
I was so
Uh,
thrilled to hear that she loved that movie. So,
Snorter Poopus wants to know if we're going to be
yeah,
stopping off at Cracker Barrel on the way home.
uh,
He enjoyed
sometimes,
his trip to Pensacola,
yeah.
but he wants to know if we're all going to stop off at Cracker Barrel.
Well, we can, in your honor, but I got to do this. I got to get the chicken and dumplings with 3 extra sides of dumplings.
That's what he gets every time we go
Well, I
there.
think I get 2 maybe, and then I get 1 green beans. I got to have a little
Yeah.
green in there.
Yes.
So, and the following Wednesday, the final Wednesday of the month, is kind of open as a chill chat. I'm hoping to get somebody for that Wednesday night just to hang out and have fun, but we'll see what happens. But Wednesdays are packed in April, and really so. And then Rambling Canuck I will have on the 15th on a Saturday with another Axis and Allies game. So April's coming up, and a lot of stuff here. And yeah, dumplings. Hey, forget the chicken. Just give me the dumplings. That's what I
Yes,
say.
I don't like their chicken, but I would eat
Yeah,
their dumplings. I
it's
just
like
don't
dried
think
out
it
or
is good.
something. It just doesn't
I
fit. It
just,
has no taste.
I'm not a good. I really don't eat a lot of chicken.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, well, hey, thank you everybody, and thank you everybody hanging for this long goodbye. But that's the short story for what's coming up in April. Well, there you go. You need mashed potatoes and gravy with the dumplings, Dad, man. You know what? I will
I
do
never
that.
tried that. I've never tried that.
I will do that. Of course, my all the bad stuff will come back to haunt me then after probably all that carb and gravy. But yeah,
Only
yeah,
do it once,
yeah.
once
Kind of
in a
like,
while.
when I had your birthday a few weeks ago with the birthday cake. I got all 4 corners of the cake. Did you realize that?
Did you? Oh my
I
gosh,
got
you're.
all 4 freaking corners, and I was in
Oh,
heaven. So that was so amazing to watch. So,
oh,
but yeah, so
oh.
April's busy, a lot coming up. Listen, love you guys. Thank you all for your support. And yes, collabs also coming up, trying to reach out and do more and things. But like I said, you guys are why I'm here. Y'all talking to me like friends talking to friends and just having some laughs. And hopefully tonight you learned a few things. And Store Poopas, I love having you in these because I know you know a lot with history, and you're a great old bear. And I love your knowledge too. And hopefully you enjoyed this view to Fort Pickens, so you can see what it looks like. And like I said, it was a special weekend with family camping. I got football in and talked with friends uh, and all that. I had a football conversation with my friend, and it was a special weekend. And I had, like I said earlier, the great Mrs. Dadman had me a tent with cable and air conditioning. So, what can a man ask for more than that? Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, more. Anyway, I'll stop with that.
Yeah,
But
I think you need to.
but
I do.
hey, but if Mark D with the C's out there, you remember what the famous story about that camp trip was?
Oh, yes, I do have to
Go
share
ahead.
this.
Yeah,
Okay, it was, I don't know what, midnight or something?
it was midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so that time frame. Now, ca- campgrounds have, usually after 10:30, it's quiet time. Okay, so it's like midnight. I'm in the tent. Dadman's out in the car with the Switch. He's playing Fortnite with Mark D with the C.
It's his fault.
And I hear, what did you say? Go ahead, and yell what you said.
I killed one.
And I yell, Dadman, shut up! It's quiet time. And all I'm thinking is the whole campground heard that he murdered somebody. And was that the campground that had the death a year ago?
Yes, it was like in that
And
same campsite.
there was not far from that campsite, there was a year ago
Yeah.
that um, there was a tent that wasn't taken down, and they went, and a person had died in the tent. I don't think it was, I think it just was they just died. I don't think there was
Yeah, but
anything bad that happened, but it's not good that you have someone at 1 o'clock in the morning yelling in a campground that's dead silent. I killed him at full voice. Oh,
well, I had to break the window down a little bit because it was hot as hell in the thing, you know.
oh,
But yeah, and Mark wish he clipped that one. Yeah, that was
oh.
a classic moment.
But yeah, I just
So
nearly, and I'm like, shut up, Dad, man.
yeah, I was more scared of you than I was anybody in the campground.
Oh,
But anyway, Snore Poopus loves the history. Squeaka said she loves everybody, loves us. Thank you, love you too, Squeaka. Jess, get the white. Oh, you get the white gravy. I'm a brown gravy type guy, but I guess I could see white gravy
you'd
with.
have to get white gravy if you're having
Yeah,
dumplings, because the dumplings are in white gravy.
okay, I got you. So, well, anyway, on that long goodbye, thank you guys. Y'all make it so much fun. And there again, YouTube, Twitch, Dadman Walker55. Follow me on Twitter, Dadman Walker55. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great rest of the week. And we will be in touch again at some point soon. Bye all. Love you.
Love
Bye.
y'all. Bye.